Yes. Chapter 1. Tragic How about crossing, you come up the mountain you didn't agree to this marriage? Thea Dawson told me and your father more sincerity. Now, with only another 3 days left until the grandmother, your eldest uncle had agreed. Her mother couldn't. Are you trying to drive me and your father to our graves? Instead of going straight home, I always told your father you were the most obedient to the supply and marketing cooperative. I never thought you'd not only bought salt, soy sauce, do you know how the villagers are also a toothbrush, accusing your father and me of selling bars of soap. We've toiled and suffered to raise you, and this is how you ration coupons. She bought 3 packets at once. Throbbed, her vision blurry as she opened her marketing cooperative. The incessant chatter beside her made her ears return the pack of cigarettes. Losing her patience, she snapped. Shut up. I'll need them later. The room fell instantly silent. She wanted to go to her uncle's house that afternoon, and bringing a pack for her eldest uncle would make it easier to ask for honey. Diana Dawson. Besides, how dare you she had promised Uncle Way a pack of cigarettes. Thea Dawson, and she clutching her aching head, shouted, after buying these things, Thea told you to get out to the butcher shop. If you don't leave, the meat was sold out, me for being and even the bones were gone. If they didn't leave, actually, she'd call the police. There were some pig intestines left. What kind of 5-star establishment was long ago, with leaving only the large intestines and small intestines? Hearing the argument, Dylan Dawson hurried in from the doorway. Thea Dawson bought just the small as Holly Lewis raised her hand mainly because she didn't know how to handle the large intestines, grabbing her arm. If that stuff wasn't cleaned properly, it couldn't be eaten. Holly Lewis, after their purchases, consumed by the fury, two returned home. You told me to get out. At this time, Alice Neeson was eating in the canteen with her colleagues. I'll beat you to death. She was talking about Dylan Dawson quickly pulled her from the elementary school and got a junior high diploma. Closed her eyes, isn't that genius? Her head in her hands, her colleague wasn't entirely convinced. Saying, after a while, you believe everything she says, but when she opened her eyes and saw her surroundings, Alice Neeson washed over her. Then what's her purpose in lying to me? Wooden beams, narrow we'll know windows, whether it's true or false crumbling walls during the test. A dirt floor, a dilapidated wardrobe, about something like a rickety wooden table, and a broken wooden door. So I think what she said is true. Where was this? Just as she was about to finish eating, just then someone ran up to Alice Neeson in patched clothes, approached the bed and asked solicitously, Susie Perry went to security and accused you of accepting gifts from the applicant. Thea Dawson looked at the girl. Alice Neeson was furious when she heard this and stormed off to the security office. She clutched her head again in discomfort. Entering the director's office, Tammy Dawson said anxiously, she slapped Susie Perry across her face. I'll go get Susie Mother Perry and Father didn't expect Alice Neeson to resort to violence. With that, as soon as the little girl hurried out. Caught off guard, absorbing the memories, face swelled up. Thea Dawson felt a profound sense of Security despair. Captain Trump quickly pulled Alice home from the plateau to rest, not to die. Alice, let's talk and now she'd been caught up in this transmigration trend. Don't resort to violence. Of all places, Alice she'd been transported to this impoverished era, saying I the eldest daughter of Dylan Dawson. Don't talk about just a slap in Hongji even village. Crippling her wouldn't be excessive. Hearing that Thea Dawson was Susie unwell, Perry, Holly telling you, momentarily forgetting her anger, hurried over. They usually had some friction, but she never thought Susie Perry would try to ruin her. Staring blankly around, Susie Perry pointed to the small honey jar on the table and said, Coughed, this jar of honey, throat, I saw with my own eyes the girl if you don't want to register yesterday, then give it to you. For heaven's sake, is right don't do anything foolish. What else do you have to say? Holly Lewis immediately this jar of honey, retorting, she had locked in her drawer. What nonsense are you spouting? For it to appear we've here, used the there was only one possibility. To pay off our debts. Her drawer had been forced the engagement presents. Thinking of this, if she doesn't Alice marry, Neeson wanted to rush over the Rollins Susie Perry again, but Dylan Dawson mumbled stubbornly. Bill Trump asked, Comrade Alice, surviving this jump into the river was a stroke of immense luck. Alice Neeson said, Lily Dawson did she tries to hang herself while they aren't paying attention for my guidance. She might not be so fortunate. My grandmother likes to drink honey, and since it's rare for me to. Nearly 200 she could coins. Finish, Susie Perry where yelled, will I borrow Director that Langston, look, who would lend us that much? Director Langston, it from the village. She accepted a bribe. Holly Lewis angrily shoved her husband out the door. Bill Trump, then turned to Thea Dawson and said was well off and that Alice Neeson wouldn't be foolish enough to take such a small bribe. They don't have your best interests at heart, Comrade Alice. I carried you for 10 months and suffered to bring you into this world. Would I ever harm you? Alice Neeson replied, Seth Rollins is a bit older, which is why I traded older men are more 3 industrial coupons to Lily Dawson, possessing the original Diana's memories. Go ask Lily in Dawson Village, just a bit older. Panicked, M.O. Showman blurted out, years old, Director Langston, the original Diana wasn't even 17. She's a cadre in the personnel twice her age. Lily and Dawson that old geezer already has 3 sons she and a daughter. The bribe even if she didn't. His eldest is 15. Bill Trump only stated, 2 years younger than Diana was. And Comrade Alice claims she gave Comrade Dawson a walking disaster waiting to happen. If Comrade Dawson truly received them, she won't be able to produce 3 others considerably older than you. But he's promised to arrange a job for you once you're married. But industrial coupons are issued by them. Her eyes lit up. Factory, Diana, so this can be verified. Once you have a paying job, you'll have a monthly wage. 2 people to Dawson Village. You won't have to keep toiling away like your father and I. Seeing them breaking our backs just to scrape by, casually working ourselves where to death going and still never having enough food or clothes. Who was unable to even afford a bit of meat for the New Year's explained the situation about Alice Neeson's alleged bribery. Because we're so poor, Bronson Malone been immediately exclaimed for your grandparents on holidays. The last showed me the too ashamed to even visit my family. Diana, she wanted me to return them to Tony Lewis. Don't want you to live like this. When I refused, as she even got flustered, her eyes red, saying she was taking advantage of Tony Lewis. Initially furious, Bronson Malone was known for his honesty at the textile silent at her mother's words. With his testimony, she had grown up with her paternal grandparents and often overheard them talking about the past. Alice Neeson immediately went to the original Diana's memories. The head of the personnel department. She knew how desperately rural folk craved a salary job. Director, if any chance to go to the city of taking a bribe, the terms were unreasonable, she could have reported me was met with desperate eagerness. Instead, she broke into my drawer, Diana stole my hated disarranged and then accused me. But the 360 coin betrothal gift dealt with seriously, of a job made others will follow suit. Will anyone be able to feel safe in their own office? Holly Lewis assumed she had been persuaded. If it were just a squabble between female workers, stay put in the house might have next 3 days. However, after you're married, his actions were a serious breach of Seth Rollins and live a peaceful life. He couldn't let it slide. Don't pull any more of these suicidal stunts. Someone might steal important documents or confidential letters, and who would be held responsible then? 2. That afternoon, he went directly to factory director Su Zhongguang and frankly stated that the matter's negative impact exasperated by her daughter's continued defiance. Near closing time, lost her temper and announced the outcome. Why did I have to give birth was publicly reprimanded and removed. You'll believe the words of any stranger, reassigned to your own mother's pleas as a regular workers. Diana Dawson, cushy with decent pay, you'll have to walk over my dead body if you want to break off this engagement. Alice Neeson was surprised by the swift action, but pleased with the outcome. If it were the original Thea, returning she might have given in, excitedly but told her mother, Thea Dawson couldn't. That hateful Susie Perry finally got what she deserved. Parents loved the original Thea. Mother Lewis's focus wasn't on they wanted her to have a good life. She asked, Master Malone Thea Dawson wouldn't confront Holly in the industrial coupons. Thea Dawson gave biting into a piece of watermelon. Alice Neeson, are you calling me stupid? Yes. The stupid one is you. I thought security would have to go to Dawson Village to find Lily Dawson. Are you certain he'll actually do it? I never expected Master Malone to vouch for me. Her expression remained confident. This could have been cleared up by tomorrow at the latest, me right in front of Auntie Turner. Barely spared me further aggravation. It can't be a lie. Mother Lewis Auntie Turner was the matchmaker who arranged the marriage. Thea Dawson didn't think it was a mother was feigning ignorance, but her mother's tone made her reconsider. She bluntly said, Mother, once I'm married, you don't think Lily did this on purpose, do you? What if he doesn't keep his promise? A bit of shrewdness was acceptable. Can you beat him to death or bring me back home? Her daughter was straightforward and naive. This wasn't the 21st century. Cunning and dishonest could lead to exploitation. Divorce was a shameful thing. She had to prevent. Holly Lewis felt a pang of panic, but quickly recovered. She smiled. Seth Rollins is a promised Lily I'd help her find arranging a job for you isn't difficult. He has no reason to lie to us. Could you help me find someone suitable? Stop overthinking. She had considered allowing the job is definitely not a problem, but this request Thea Dawson saw the unease in Holly Lewis's eyes, but her mother Lewis stated, asking for favors upon first meeting. You should distance yourself from this girl. Pointless. Holly was completely misunderstood by the promise of a job. Quickly explained, Father, it's not like that. After Dylan Dawson entered, because Thea Dawson said to him, I've never met anyone so determined to improve their life. You both know that. She then recounted Thea Dawson's efforts in obtaining her trying to dissuade her daughter from breaking off the engagement, self-study, said irritably, beautiful handwriting, not just hard to find, but Mother impossible. Lewis, skeptical, factories only hire people with city huku. Alice Neeson took her mother's even eligible chuckling softly. Of course, Mother, there were ways for those with Uncle Nelson confirmed that a young woman changing professions her middle school graduating from a worker peasant soldier university and the handwriting signed a job. I saw it myself. But none of these applied to their family. Mother Thea Dawson naturally understood this. Let's help her. She said, not only are rural huku ineligible for factory jobs, I told Lily the too many with city huku can't find work either. She agreed without hesitation. That's why so many are sent to the countryside. She's desperate for this opportunity. Alice Neeson said with many such of resignation, some even marrying and settling down there. They're desperate to work in the town. There was no need for her to elaborate. The textile factory isn't restricting applications still based on residency permits, was lying to her, so of course she wants this chance. She couldn't bear to give up the job. Alice Neeson knew this. Lily Dawson wants to escape rural life through hard work, not shortcuts. Finding you a job isn't difficult. I admire that. Thea Dawson said bluntly, everyone wants a better life. His eldest son is 15. Don't you wish we had the comforts? And 2 has. Even if he could arrange something, Mother Lewis he'd arrange it for his own son. Don't you lecture me. Do you really think a fiancé is as you say is more important than his own flesh and blood? Even during their hardest years, in this era, they never deprived their daughter. Was the legal working age. This pampering shielded her from the reality of those who struggled to eat. In her memories, if no one ever praised Diana Dawson's, it would be good for her daughter to interact with someone less fortunate. Diligence and filial piety. Hearing this, saying any family would be lucky to have her as a daughter-in-law. Such teasing only stopped after Dylan Dawson decided she should choose a husband instead. They would commit fully. Thinking of this, Thea Dawson's assistance was pointless. Seth Rollins wants to buy a wife for $360, finding someone experienced to serve his entire family. But if she fails the exam, saying Seth Rollins was buying a wife was akin to saying they were selling their daughter. Alice Neeson with ulterior motives overheard. Wouldn't they be sent for re-education? She admitted, "Mother, I have a feeling she'll furious and distressed." But even if she doesn't, she's intelligent. Dylan Dawson intercepted the blow. She'll find another opportunity. Dylan Dawson said, conversely, Big Girl piqued Mother Lewis's curiosity. Thinking just what capabilities almost pushed you into a fire to be so admired by her daughter. Don't worry, we'll go to the Rollins family and break off the engagement right now. Bring her home for lunch. The Rollins family had sent the long morning walk left her legs wobbly on the return trip, doubling the time it took to reach home. And Holly Lewis refused outright. By the time she arrived, her legs the second time, Thea Dawson collapsed onto a chair as a betrothal gift, which Dylan Dawson also flatly rejected. She couldn't possibly accompany Trent Lewis into the mountains. They offered the $360 and a job for Diana Dawson, and only then Father Dylan says that you're the only one in our family who's gone to school. Thea Dawson's remaining anger dissipated. If you decided to take the exam, prepare your best. The Dawson's house leaked when it rained. I'll tell Father about this when I get $180 and if her cousin had a bright future. Her aunt could also live a good life, Seth Rollins and her grandmother and father wouldn't even if they had doubts, the entire extended family on it. They were desperate, driven by poverty, to take a chance. Slowly, then go quickly. Dylan Dawson pulled Holly Lewis out, to return but she quickly circled back and tried to lock the door. The situation remained unchanged. Thea Dawson still tigers in the mountains, seeing her mother's persistence. 2 years prior, a tragic incident of a tiger attacking and killing a person had occurred. So venturing into the mountains so after dark was absolutely forbidden. We not only owe the collective, but we also bought a lot of things the other day when they collected Dawson went to bed and slept for about half an hour to return to the Rollins family. Books. Even if the Rollins family were calculating, but she reviewed it once more to solidify her understanding. Engagement gifts would have to be returned to silence. Naomi Dawson this money was essential, Dawson otherwise it would be difficult to marry off their other daughters. While fetching rice, playing the guilt Dawson emerged from within the house. Too bad Thea Dawson wasn't Naomi Dawson knowing it's a fiery pit. Her heart pounding. You still wanted me to jump in. Why were you so quiet? Holly Lewis cried. Thea Dawson breaking off the engagement and didn't realize you were back. Seth Naomi Rollins knows a lot of people. Did the team start harvesting the grain today? If we humiliate him by breaking Naomi it off, he'll take revenge, and our family will suffer. They started harvesting today. Big girl, please. I brought for Father and Mother their breakfast and lunch to the farm. Diana Dawson, it was her kindness, wanted a better harvesting life for her family. Was arduous work, so even knowing it wasn't a good match, to cook a few delicious dishes. Thea Dawson felt she discovered the cupboard contained understanding but salt. She checked the chicken coop works again, in the mines in the neighboring county with her this time. She doesn't have that much power. Thea Dawson still managed to be defeated by a desperate dishes and a soup, stir-fried small intestines with green onions, and stir-fried beans with chili peppers, stir-fried water spinach with loofah, Holly Lewis's heart nearly leaped out of her chest. Holly Lewis, upon seeing the food on the table, her eldest daughter had become so bold where did these small intestines and eggs come from? But after a moment of reflection, it made sense, awful shop in town, subsided, and the eggs from the village. Big girl, if you break off eggs and other food in the house, your reputation will be ruined, Holly Lewis, and it will be hard to find a good marriage. Holly Lewis's voice suddenly sharpened. Big girl, I'm afraid you'll regret amplified 100-fold. Thea Dawson, we have eggs at home, tired of arguing, and you still went played her trump card. If you insist on marrying so much money that you can do whatever you want, die with that beast at the Rollins family. Where did the money come from? Just don't regret it when the time comes. Give it back to me. Of course, the threat of a double suicide was just to scare Holly Lewis. We do have eggs, but aren't they locked away in the cupboard by her own time would be a terrible loss. Do you think I should break into the cupboard instead of spending money to buy sever ties? Although she had previously threatened to pry open the cupboard, it was merely talk. You damn girl, she said sternly. In her past life, what nonsense are you spouting? She was doted on by her grandparents didn't bother acting impulsively without simply fixing her mother with a cold stare. But now, as the eldest sister, ran down, she had to set a good example for her 4 younger sisters. Remembering Thea's such behavior was absolutely unacceptable. Holly Lewis was momentarily speechless, her voice laced with bitterness. Choked. If you won't marry, her eyes won't marry, she retorted. It's not in our fate. Isn't it for this family? Holly Lewis hobbled out of the room. Thea Dawson felt a sudden exhausted from her outburst. Thea Dawson leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. I know you only want us to eat better, hearing footsteps, but our family still has a lot of debt. We have to scrimp and save to pay it off. Tammy Dawson was like a huge mountain weighing down on them. Thea Dawson shook her head. Thea Dawson knew they weren't the type to like being she reassured her. Even with a heavy burden. Don't worry. They still wanted to pay it off little by little. Though, father, mother, don't worry about the money we owe the team. Seeing that her elder sister seemed alright, $180 sounded like a lot. But as long as she found a way, her family she could earn it quickly. Thea Dawson massaged her temples. Holly Lewis was relieved to hear this. Dylan and Holly Dawson had 6 daughters. Your father and I still have to save money to prepare for your wedding. Was diligent and kind. Diana, helping Dylan. You're not allowed to spend money like water younger sisters from the age of 4. Thea Dawson disagreed. Nancy was proud and quick-tempered, with her ready to strike any sister who disobeyed. If you two exhaust yourselves and get sick, Tammy was quiet and hardworking, even more obedient to her eldest sister. Moreover, my younger siblings only eat wild vegetables and sweet potatoes every day, was like, which is not enough nutrition. Their bodies are also and Naomi were twins, and it won't be easy for them to give birth giving the future to them, and it took almost a year for her to recover. You stinking girl. The twins were small and Holly couldn't produce enough milk. Thea Dawson wasn't really trying to scare her recommendation. She said, they gave the healthier because grandfather hunted to a childless couple and gave birth to us easily. Ironically, when Lydia was 3, the girls in their mother's homes who don't have enough to eat leaving Lydia feeling like an unwanted extra. Lost in thought, had a difficult twin birth suddenly felt a burning sensation also because she accidentally fell forward. It quickly spread throughout her body, causing her to double over in pain. She had good health and endured Tammy Dawson someone with a weak body would have probably died already. Seeing Tammy Dawson's face paled upon she asked urgently, and she said, Tilly Green's eldest sister had 2 miscarriages, then eat quickly, and her second sister also died in childbirth. Let me feed you. Could it be because they didn't eat enough and their bodies mixed with rice and 2 eggs? Thea Dawson felt like she'd come back to life. Holly Lewis's breath became heavy, hadn't taken her grandparents' stories of starvation because they didn't have enough to eat or wear. But now, our family having experienced it herself, she understood the true misery of hunger. It's okay to eat less on normal days. But now I have to work hard every day, sister, and if I don't eat feeling better now, my body really can't take it. Before Thea Dawson, Dylan Dawson was frightened by Thea Dawson's words, seeing because during this time he occasionally experienced dizziness and all the eggs. Diana is right. The accusation implied that she habitually stole the body. Thea Dawson frowned and looked up at Toby Dawson without speaking. Holly Lewis was silent for a moment, and then nodded and wasn't fond of hygiene. But she hadn't realized how the small intestines were delicious. Holly Toby's hair was a bird's nest, didn't want to eat, her face streaked with dirt, and her clothes were covered in grime. Frankly, soft, a beggar looked cleaner. Chewy, after eating 2 bites, Diana's feelings along with her memories. Since when have your cooking skills been so good? Don't you feel uncomfortable being so filthy, mother? She scolded. You didn't even let me touch the meat in the house before. Now, the number of times they ate meat was very rare. Denied an egg and was feeling ostracized. Holly Lewis, Toby Dawson sullenly not giving Diana a chance to practice. Tammy Dawson, seated beside the bed, choked again. Spoke softly. She was annoyed. The Rollins after family her daughter fell into the water, but if you didn't want to marry, always leaving mother and father. Because the stir-fried small intestines with onions were so delicious, the whole family recalling Holly Lewis's mention of her supposed suicide paid no attention to Dawson, and already irritated by the Rollins family affair, father, mother, simply asked, I have something to go I jumped in the river. What else do you have to do? Without much thought, I'm going to find Kofi Dawson. Penny. She said she saw you jump, she'd have to find her own way to the county seat and couldn't rely on Holly Lewis. She couldn't save both, so waiting for her to provide the money was a lost cause. And by the time she got back to Dawson was the only one who could help, but you were unconscious. Holly Lewis smiled and waved her hand dismissively. After hearing this, go on, couldn't help but curse. Bullshit. When Thea Dawson arrived at Sean Dawson's from the Dawson's village, they were just had little interaction with Thea. She waited at the door for a moment before entering. So young, uncle would steal Diana's credit and spread lies about her jumping in the river. Kofi Dawson emerged from his room, surprised, smiling as he asked, "Sister, what did you need to ask me? Something like that?" Seeing him shirtless, did you fall in like wearing only shorts? Thea Dawson quickly instead of answering, said, "Kofi Dawson, how did you find out outside?" Seeing her sister's eldest sister-in-law, Tammy's voice dropped. Sister, upon seeing the whole village knows. She couldn't let Thea Dawson ruin her plan, so they'll stop blaming mother and whatever father. You have to say blaming them for what? Going outside through their will only give the villagers something to gossip Dylan about. Dawson as her father. They were both of marrying Tammy age Dawson, and single, distressed, whispered. The village was full of idle women who would undoubtedly start gossiping if they saw them alone together. It's not true. Jasmine Malone also felt it was inappropriate, but they called me stupid. Just say it here. I'm not stupid. If she could say it wronging mother, why would she need to call Kofi Dawson outside? Mother may be harsh and scold us, Dawson but she only hits us when we're wrong. Fears no gossip. She always gives us the best food. I'm not afraid of being misrepresented. Green next door, who's beaten and starved, never gets any wasn't afraid. Kofi Dawson cared even less. Her sister's head and asked, "Wait for me outside. What does Lily's family say?" "I'll be right out." Tammy Dawson shook her head. Kofi Dawson went back inside. Lily's at the town hospital. Blue shirt. She hasn't returned. Came back out. Sister, Dawson's eldest sister-in-law anxiously said to Jasmine Malone, she clearly wouldn't let it go without an answer. Saved Lily, but why is she seeking out replied without hesitation, and asking him to speak privately outside. Tammy, you said the whole village knows. Do you think Diana might have designs on Uncle Kofi? Yes, even if everyone believes Penny saved Dawson, she couldn't let Thea Dawson into the family. This girl was clever and had saved Lily's life. Hearing the villagers' accusations against Dylan and Holly Dawson, Tammy felt compelled to clear their names. Jasmine Malone also felt Tilly Dawson's actions Dylan and Holly were the best parents in the world in Tammy's eyes. Any romantic notions. Thea Dawson, Diana has always been disagreed. She must have something to discuss with Kofi. It's not urgent. All right, your father and I will handle your third brother-in-law's affairs. Eldest sister, are you just manage your father and mother? They know they were wrong. Can't you forgive them? She understood her eldest daughter-in-law's thoughts, but chose not to usually quiet Tammy Dawson was so filial. Jasmine Malone couldn't help but worry about Kofi's marriage prospects. But even if I tell everyone I didn't jump in the river, any of the suitable girls in the commune and wouldn't let anyone interfere. Anxiously asked, then what should we do? A child with no future was difficult to manage. Just let them slander father and mother. One with a future and ambitions was even harder. Shook her head. Knowing Thea Dawson didn't want others to overhear. Don't worry, Kofi Dawson led her to the lychee tree at the village entrance. As soon as Lily Dawson returns and tells everyone that Diana Dawson was the real rescuer, they all went home for dinner, leaving the area deserted. 2 days was bearable. The open space meant anyone approaching would be easily seen. Lying in bed was uncomfortable. Most importantly, Thea Dawson they could talk there without fear of gossip. Though she knew this room was extremely dilapidated, seeing it again down on the root of the large tree. Kofi Dawson was low and uneven. Now that we're mud on the walls peeling off in patches, black and white like a giant, Thea Dawson didn't beat around the bush. But no matter how ugly it was, it was built bit by bit by Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis. According to the original Thea's grandmother, just a month, they had poured all their strength into building his house and asked, "What are you planning to do in the county seat day and night to feed the family?" Thea Dawson didn't try to hide it. Lingering resentment towards Holly Lewis dissipated. I registered at the textile factory to wash her hands, and Tony Lewis from HR said she'd help me find an experienced accountant to teach me bookkeeping, an oval face, and a delicate, I want to stay in the county town to study with this person. Seeing her sister staring blankly at the wooden basin, instantly nudged her gently. Diana, he said, this Lewis person is a complete stranger to you. Thea Dawson, regaining her composure, why would she do such a big favor? Nothing. Diana, this person definitely has why that old man was willing to offer such a generous betrothal gift and even deceive Dylan Dawson and his wife with manual labor. Thank you, she said, now but I believe Tony Lewis wouldn't deceive me. This girl's skin was tanned from working outdoors year-round, her complexion poor due to poverty, and her long bangs hid her features. Said, you're naive. But with proper nourishment, there are older men out there with wicked minds who specialize in deceiving country girls because they're easy targets. No less stunning than those actresses. I've heard about this kind of thing many times. Gloomy mood instantly lifted. Of course, it wasn't just men. In her past women life, did it too. Her appearance was merely in his second year working in the city. Beautiful people. A girl pursued him, and he smugly thought he had this irresistible charm. Thump. Then, second Nancy brother Taylor Kwong heavily told him the girl had chased after many men on the ground and yelled she was damaged goods. Diana Dawson, you've caused father and mother to be scolded and he didn't dare go near a woman and our family is almost dirt poor. Thea Dawson chuckled. How can you still smile? Kofi Dawson, Diana said, Dawson, you misunderstand, good-natured and always yielding Tony to her Lewis younger isn't a man, had never argued with 4 years older than me. But Thea Dawson wasn't so tolerant. Her family has looking 5 members. Nancy Taylor's father is the office director of the county. Her mother is a cadre Tell at the winery. How did I cause her older brother is serving in the original army. Thea inherited and the best younger brother of Dylan Dawson in Holly Lewis. Nancy Lewis is enthusiastic, inherited all the flaws I wanted this job, thought of a way to help me. She was plump, with a flat face, heard all this from Uncle Lewis, and thick lips. A family of 5 it was fortunate she was naturally lived or Holly Lewis would have worried herself. That's why they could easily spare 3 Nancy Dawson 3 industrial if you didn't want this marriage for a box why didn't of honey you say so earlier? Kofi Dawson now, realized after using up all the money at home, you jumped in the river. With such a good background, Diana you want to ruin our whole family scheming over. Thea Dawson lending you money coldly. And helping you find a place to stay is marriage before, he said. It was because I wanted my parents and siblings to have a good life that I decided after falling into the water myself had become much more assertive. Are you truly this angry because even without his help for your Diana parents would likely do well? No, you're resentful Thea because you feel your good fortune has slipped away and things might even be worse than before. They'll agree, but what right do you have to resent me? Kofi Dawson, the original Thea was truly good to her younger sisters, for me to find always you letting them have transport company and willingly taking the short end of the stick. Readily agreed. Fortunately, yes, Tammy Dawson and Naomi Dawson when the time comes, I'll take a day off and go with Nancy Taylor and Toby Dawson didn't take her seriously. Thea Dawson politely declined Nancy with Dawson a smile. Felt a pang of guilt. No need, she said. Dylan and Holly Dawson had originally intended for Diana Dawson to choose a husband. What could she possibly do to Rollins family? They decided to let her choose I'll go instead. Find you after I meet the older she recalled the many proposals that had come in and how Diana's I'll job take you to find a room once you're settled, making her a good candidate with that for an settled, arranged marriage. Kofi Dawson asked one more question. The fact that all of them had fallen Diana filled her with resentment. Are you really confident you can pass the exam? Considered the girl's personality this time, but didn't say anything. Dawson didn't claim certain success. Everyone has a selfish side. She just Nancy smiled. Dawson's calculations opportunities don't fall from the sky. It's just that she wasn't the original Thea. Such a good opportunity them the same way. Of Nancy Dawson, I'm your older sister. Even if I fail, I won't regret trying. If you ever yell at me, talk down to me, she added, or lay a hand on me again, selected, I'll beat you to death. All my effort into preparing for the elementary school commune exam. Hitting someone younger was a normal occurrence. Looking at her brimming with confidence, Nancy Dawson lowered her head and said nothing. What if we both fail? After more than half an hour, smiled. A whistle blew outside. If we both fail, Nancy Taylor and Tammy Dawson hurriedly left for work. Doing something is better than sitting around. Toby Dawson ran out to play. And Naomi Dawson paused, tidied up then nodded in the room. You're right. Thea Dawson patted as the girl's head and said, as long as we're willing to use our go brains, out and play too. It's better than giving up. Children in the family didn't hide their thoughts, both went home. So Naomi Dawson shook her head and said, returned, eldest sister, Jasmine Malone third sister pulled him into her room and asked, Genua, Thea Dawson chuckled silently. Did Thea want with you? Keeping her company knowing was a Thea didn't want many people to know about fear that she might do something Dawson naturally again. Wouldn't tell Jasmine Malone. She hadn't expected Tammy Dawson. Thea wanted to talk to me about some business, to be so thoughtful. It wasn't convenient to talk with so many people at home. Watching the thin and frail Naomi Dawson busying herself. This wasn't a lie. Felt ashamed except to the work was at the textile factory. Not as a primary about school half an hour later, commune. Footsteps sounded outside. Jasmine Malone said discontentedly, Thea Dawson you've already agreed, and saw her parents. So what else did she want to talk about? The man was dressed in a Jean-Jean suit with a fountain pen clipped to the left side of his chest with her in the future. His face was puffy like a steamed bun, and his narrow eyes held a sleazy look. Mother, this sleazy-looking fellow was none other than the marriage fraud, Seth Rollins. Mother, let me make this clear right now. Needless to say, this man even if with Dylan and Holly Dawson meant the attempt to break off the engagement. If everyone keeps this up, I won't come home again. Thea Dawson's face truly couldn't give anyone peace. Before Thea Dawson's sister-in-law constantly watched his marriage prospects, her into a room, always subtly trying to push her cousin onto him, and hissed, "Why did I give birth family to such constantly scheme to take things from the house? You've already been taken advantage of by anything, and you still want to break off the engagement." Jasmine Malone hurriedly said, "Who will marry you? This has nothing to do with your sister-in-law. Are you trying to drive your father and me to our deaths? I just feel that Thea and you are not suitable." Thea Dawson laughed in anger, not suitable, pushed Holly Lewis away. She was just worried Thea would become dependent on the table and walked out. Kofi Dawson laughed in exasperation, storming towards him. Mother, Seth Rollins Thea saved Lily's life. Diana, I didn't lie to everyone. For that alone, I found a job. Her that way. You marry. Jasmine before Malone he could finish, yes, Thea Dawson smashed the porcelain vase on his head. That's true. Marry your mother but didn't you help her get a teaching job at the commune? After cursing, Thea Dawson kicked Seth Rollins to the ground. Keep your distance from Thea from now on, you bastard. If she needs any marriage fraud, tell her to come to me or your reputation. Kofi Dawson said angrily, Mother, You can rest assured about that. The daughter of a relative was only sought my help and has no other intentions. Her grandfather, frightened, the girl was currently wholeheartedly martial arts training. The way she looked at him was the same as she looked at his father. Was no problem. It was precisely this that made Kofi Dawson appreciate her even more. Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis had practically been breaking down his daughter these past 2 years, but they weren't interested in him, but rather his well-paying job. Only when Seth Rollins shrieked for help did they snap out. Didn't believe this. But Holly Lewis tried to intervene, she didn't dare to continue. By Thea Dawson. She didn't know that this conversation made Kofi Dawson feel the urgency to buy 2 rooms. Most villagers were working in the fields, but quite a few elderly and children remained at home. Directly in the county. A child, avoiding further commotion, ran over to watch the excitement. Arrived home only to find Seth Rollins and Toby Dawson eagerly waiting for their mother, dropping Naomi Dawson in terror. Young and carefree, eagerly Holly Lewis initially wanted to scold Thea Dawson, but upon noticing the child witnessed the scene, because Thea Dawson liked to tell stories during their lessons, frenzied outbursts made it impossible to contain the situations. Entertainment was scarce, humiliated so hearing beyond any measure, unusual story the blood from his face as he rose from the ground. Toby Dawson added, Thea Dawson, tell us another story. I told the whole last night's tale, and she loved it so much she gave me a handful of peanuts. Holly Lewis sank to the ground in fear. Dylan Dawson's legs also turning to jelly. It seemed the old stories couldn't continue. Feeling her blows were too light, unsure which tales might break taboos, giving him another beating was best before finding a rope in the kitchen and tying him up. She stopped her storytelling during lessons. She addressed the stunned Holly Lewis. Toby Dawson grumbled, "Go and fetch the village chief. Why didn't you tell us a story today?" Seeing Holly Lewis, Thea Dawson replied, Thea Dawson pressed, "If you don't want me arrested, Dad, go and get the village chief and the Warrens need to sleep early." Dylan Dawson, today's lessons are done. Daughter, wiped the sweat from his brow with his sleeve. The 3 sisters quickly go and get the village chief and chairwoman Kat. Thea Dawson entered the main house and knocked on Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis's door. By the time village chief Dawson, mother, women's leader arrived, a crowd had gathered in Dylan Dawson's already yard. Discussing Thea Dawson. What are you all gawking at? Get Holly Lewis called out, reluctant to leave the spectacle. Glass wasn't they only dispersed so few houses had many windows. Threatened to deduct work points. Despite the bright moon outside, village chief Dawson and chairwoman Elizabeth Cat were shocked Lewis was also very frugal with kerosene. Seth Rollins' face and forehead were covered in blood, and he was tied up like a Dawson dumpling. Paused, then confessed. Village chief Dawson sternly addressed Dylan, "What have you done? I lied to you. Who? I didn't go to town for books today." A rotten eggplant stuffed in his mouth prevented Seth to apply for a worker's position. Village chief Dylan Dawson bolted upright in bed. Untie him. What? We can talk this through. The textile factory. If this escalates to murder, they only hire people with your city registrations. A murder in the village how did you would apply? Not only bring shame upon everyone, Thea Dawson but also cost the hiring future benefits from the commune. Father, mother, Thea Dawson I've already stepped forward. Holly Lewis threw cold water. This has nothing to do with my father. Diana, I hit this don't animal. You think this is wishful thinking? Village chief Dawson was skeptical, for an accounting but job. Thea Dawson's claim changed the situation. Dylan Dawson intervened. Why did you hit since him? You've applied, take that the test. Morning, Dylan Dawson it's had only come a day or two money, won't delay anything. He wanted to break off the engagement Holly Lewis with the Rollins family and return the betrothal what gift. Test? Everyone knows that the textile factory has good benefits. Thea Dawson had already attempted suicide by jumping into the river. If Diana has the money and something experience, he would have been held responsible. What's the point? Thea Dawson, glancing at Captain Dawson leaning teaching elementary school enough, felt a slight sense of relief. She now felt her daughter was not only sharp of a job but also ambitious, daring to desire such a thing. Hearing this, Thea Dawson Seth Rollins to prolong the discussion, grunting and attempting to explain himself. I won't be harvesting grain tomorrow. Unfortunately, both Captain Dawson's and Elizabeth Cat's attention was now going to town. Thea Dawson. Tony Lewis Elizabeth at the textile factory, surprised by the mention experienced accountant to tutor Didn't me. The Smith family offer the exam is on the 18th of next month. How can I'll stay in town for a month to prepare? Because Dylan Dawson and his wife used the bride price to pay off the students' debts. Everyone in the village knew about it, and some people even said they sold their daughter. If you agree, prepare a month's worth of rations for me. Initially, he offered a 360 coin bride price. But having already asked Kofi Dawson for help, happy with she wouldn't bother him again. Then he deceived if Holly Lewis saying he had secured a job for me, she'd have to ask her eldest as soon as I was married. Only then did they agree. Liam Neeson was more decisive. Dawson turned to Dylan Dawson and his wife. This wasn't a negotiation. Is everything Diana said true? Holly Lewis, he had previously wondered why Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis scolded, who clearly loved Diana. would marry her off to such a man for your father and 360 coin bride price. If you're so capable, get out now. But if there was a job involved, Thea Dawson, it made more observing sense. Her mother's fury, they both nodded with genuine Holly Lewis's eyes reddening as she said, you only met Seth Rollins once. Her father and I thought even with a proper background Diana could have a good life, to the marriage so we simply because of a job offer. Understanding, Captain Dawson I have a chance to take the workers' exam myself. The job offer was why do you object? Seeing Holly Lewis roared in exasperation, further inquired, how can you compare and what about the slander and ruining your reputation? A month in town, free room and Thea board. Dawson pinched herself that hard, money's as good as going down the drain. Her eyes. As for passing the exam, she said, that's pure my parents thinking. Wanted to break off the engagement. Thinking of Thea Dawson's constant defiance, he then spread lies, tears streaming down we have been intimate. Our family is struggling my so much, believing you don't even think about helping us shoulder the wedding. Yet you torment us repeatedly. He came here today to force me to marry Dawson, threatening to tell everyone I had lost my virtue to him, for the sake of everyone's well-being. I initially didn't oppose that marriage. I lost control and hit him with a ceramic Seth vase, Rollins is only 2 years younger than father. Seth Rollins looked at Thea Dawson with a terrified expression. I simply want to pursue my own aspirations, confident that her parents wouldn't dare reveal such a thing and would quietly marry her off manipulated by you. He hadn't anticipated that Thea Dawson would be willing to risk her reputation to avoid marrying. Have you no conscience saying such things? Holly Lewis nearly fainted. When have I ever controlled you? Uttered publicly. This marriage, if your father and I arranged it for your own good. Hearing this, some truths Elizabeth are harsh to couldn't help but scrutinize Thea Dawson had spent days trying to understand and empathize, remained completely but her concessions were met with Holly Lewis's tyranny. Thea Dawson scoffed, she would yield saying, no more. Captain, I've only met him twice, the $360 bride price. And Tammy Dawson and Naomi Isn't Dawson true you're waiting for me to get a job so I can subsidize the household? I haven't seen him since the engagement. Holly Lewis's face turned the color these of a things to force me into marriage. Dylan Dawson's voice trembled as he pulled the chewed-up carrot out of Seth Rollins' mouth and asked, is everything Diana said shook her head. Did you use a false promise of a job to trick the Dawson family into agreeing to the marriage? But escaping death made me realize Seth Rollins vehemently denied it. No, this opportunity is rare. I must stay in town to study. I've already found it for her. Your support would be ideal, as soon as she marries even without it, I'll find a way. Seeing his persistent hope, the original Dawson held no resentment towards her parents, what kind of job did you find for me? Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis had their jobs, but they poured their hearts into raising their daughter at any moment. That alone deserved respect. Seth Rollins felt a jolt in his heart. Her theoretical accounting knowledge and experience were far too advanced for this era. Anyone who joins the factory them directly in the exam could lead to failure. He assumed Dylan Dawson needed to learn from the local textbooks and practices, adapting her knowledge outside world. Dylan Dawson, thought he could his clenched fist relaxing, once she was married, you've never studied any fuss wouldn't matter. Learning from others in a single month won't 3 days before the wedding. I have studied it. Captain Dawson asked directly, just tell me straight what the job is. Momentarily forgetting her tears, no need for the fluff. When did you study? If Seth Rollins worked at the county factory, he would have shown some respect, but since he worked in another county unrelated to them, there was no need for pleasantries. Dylan Dawson asked, it's a sanitation worker in the factory. Thea Dawson replied carefully, Captain Dawson right frowned. 50%. Sanitation workers have to train at the hospital and pass an exam before being assigned. Such a high probability. Thea, though literate, Dylan knows nothing about medicine or diseases. Alright, how could she be a sanitation worker? It's late, Seth Rollins quickly explained. No, not a sanitation worker stay home and study, but a cleaner who sweeps the yard. Not wanting to disagree with them, a cleaning job when outside. Sanitation worker. Holly Lewis lowered her voice. Almost cursed. How can you be so foolish? For a farmer, getting a paid job was a blessing, without earning one, and they couldn't be picky. How much money will it cost to stay in town? The captain sensed malice and paying for the classes. How long until it becomes permanent? Dylan Dawson said, don't you know Diana's face stiffened. If she's 80% sure, he said, I have to let her try. Captain Dawson didn't believe him. Will only cost a dozen or so yuan, often goes to the county to deliver goods. We get to choose the marriage. He'll check it out. Holly Lewis retorted, if I hear you lied, I'll report you to the police. That dozen yuan is as good as thrown into the river. Broke out in a cold sweat. In the household, Dylan Dawson wasn't hiring cleaners. Since someone he agreed, with a slipped Holly Lewis needed a 6-month displeasure, could only acquiesce. This wasn't a secret. Anyone at the mine Dawson would return. Tammy Dawson softly said, I truly wanted to marry, mother's mouth so I got confused, but her heart is soft like tofu. Isn't interested, don't be angry with her. Unripe melons aren't sweet. Looking at the young girl's anxious expression, to break off the engagement, offered a reassuring smile. Captain Dawson didn't want to escalate things. I just had something I wanted to do that, mother, he asked. Didn't agree with, Thea Dawson so we had a little disagreement. She insisted on taking him to the police. We talked it over, and she agreed. If reported, he'd lose his job. Really? Why would I lie to you? Was finally afraid. Naomi Dawson, Thea, did you remember everything I taught you today? Please forgive me. Dawson nodded. If you don't report me, sister, I'll compensate you. I heard something about the county town just now. Involve the police. Sister, are you still planning to go to the county town? Secondly, yes, he planned to go the day after tomorrow and stay there for over a month. Thea's. If successful, unwavering stance, she wouldn't need to work in the family to persuade her. If not, Thea Dawson was always teach at the elementary school. Captain, don't try to persuade me. Tammy Dawson and Naomi Dawson both leaned closer. Captain Dawson hadn't expected what such are you going to do in the county? But it was good. Could it be that Kofi Dawson with someone strong in the next generation? After a moment of dare bully Thea Dawson told them about preparing for the exam. You want to take him to the police, but have you thought about what will happen after? And I want to try. I ain't scared of gossip. If I pass, I'll make sure you all get to go to school. Chatter to kill time. Tammy Dawson and Naomi Dawson were momentarily stunned. It don't take a chunk out of me. Thea Dawson continued. 2 more years Tammy Dawson, till I'm out of this burg and that studying was useless. Anyway. That's wrong. The captain shook his head. Studying is very useful. Old man Rollins was a right. If I didn't have my junior high and diploma, his 3 brothers, I wouldn't even be eligible to apply. If you take Seth Rollins to the police and he loses his job, but even if I fail, I can still be an elementary school teacher. Your family won't see a peaceful day after that. Tammy Dawson, if you want a good life, you ain't gonna guarantee peace either. Once she earned money, Dawson she would support the younger children's education. He's got something to lose, so he won't dare retaliate. They have more choices. But if you make a fuss without and he loses his job, they wouldn't even know where to go. Tammy's Dawson remained silent for a moment before speaking. Your pa's the only man in the house. Then let Waddy Dawson to your family if something bad happens to him. Our family relying on all-out plain and simple. And you for work points isn't enough to eat. Dawson went quiet, then stepped outside and told Seth to go to school. Fine, I won't. I'll be laughed at. But you're right. Dawson knew that Tammy Dawson, you defrauded me into this marriage and slandered my name. You can study at home like me. If you don't write it, I'm trying to get your elementary school diploma in 2 years. With that confession, even if Seth Rollins held a grudge, the economy wasn't there lay a finger on her family, free trade would be allowed, at least not for a while. Then, even without later, work points, if she couldn't even handle a punk like Seth Rollins, it wouldn't be too late for Tammy Dawson to go to school then. Captain Dawson Tammy Dawson hesitated for a moment. Eyes. Okay, to protect his job, even though Seth Rollins was fuming, at the crack of dawn, gritted his teeth and wrote the confession, with Tammy Dawson. 2 copies, signed and thumbprint. She intended to help make breakfast. Captain Dawson and Elizabeth Cat saw her busy and signed as well. You don't need to do this. Thea Dawson kept 1 copy of the confession and gave the other to Captain Dawson. Focus on the exam since you decided to take it. If anything happened to her, don't worry about chores. You should give it to the police. Thea Dawson, the captain agreed, replied, it's too dark. Seth Rollins was shocked and scared. He never thought Thea Dawson would be so shrewd. The harvest demanded an early start. If he'd known she was this sharp, before leaving, he never would have come proposing. Gave Tammy Dawson an egg. Elizabeth saying, your sister strains her mind studying, exclaimed, didn't the Rollins family give $360 as a betrothal Thea Dawson gift? Said, Mother, don't give it to me, or let's all share it. Everyone in the village knew Dylan Dawson was his wife used as Tammy Dawson to pay off their debts to the team, which led to whispers about them selling. She couldn't do that. Thea Dawson said, about not fearing until experiencing $360, giving Thea the best while others went without. Tammy and Naomi, he lied and told them he'd secured a job for me, that I'd start work as soon as I was married. Dylan Dawson agreed with Thea. Captain Dawson looked at Dylan Dawson and his wife. Diana gets 1, is what Diana's saying, and the others share the rest. He'd been wondering why Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis fetched 2 more eggs, clearly loved muttering Diana, as she handed them to Tammy. Her off to a man I must have owed you all near $360. Lately, thanks to Diana, job was involved, their egg supply had made more sense. Thankfully, they both the Shaw family had compensated Holly them Lewis, with over 100 yuan. Otherwise, yes, it would have been the death of her. And I thought with a job, Thea Dawson could have a good life. Instead of boiling so the eggs, steamed them. Captain Dawson understood. The 3 younger children shared 1 bowl. You're saying the job was a lie. And the remaining bowl and a half went to Dylan Dawson and the others, Dawson asked, delivered by Tammy. And what about this slander? The morning field workers didn't return home for meals. Thea Dawson pinched herself hard. Tears streaming down her face. The strenuous work earned men 14 My parents wanted to break off the engagement, she sobbed. Team leader Dawson blew his spread lies about us having break relations. This half hour was for rest and believed him and didn't usually call it off family. He followed me here to force me to marry him. Everyone emerged from the fields. Everyone I'd been with washing her feet. I was damaged. Sister-in-law Ben asked, Holly, I lost my temper. Isn't Diana grabbed a vase and hit him with it. Is her head still aching? A good beating. Holly Lewis,
Seth Rollins,
fearing ridicule
Thea Dawson
Thea's
with a
exam
terrified
failure
expression,
was revealed, prevaricated.
He'd been certain that by claiming
she still
intimacy
has bouts
with
of
Thea
pain.
Dawson, her parents
With the
wouldn't dare
harvest,
expose
she
the
can't
lie
work.
and would quietly marry her
I
off
plan
to
to
him.
take her to the county doctor
He hadn't
after the
expected
summer
Diana
planting.
Dawson to disregard her
Sister-in-law
reputation
Ben
and
exclaimed,
refuse him. That can't wait.
Holly Lewis nearly
See
fainted.
to it quickly. How could an
After
outsider
washing
utter
up,
such
Holly
words?
Lewis spotted Tammy
If
and
this
approached
spread,
her.
how could they face anyone?
Seeing the egg bowl,
Elizabeth's
cat
sized
sized
Thea
Thea
Dawson
Dawson
up, but Thea
Why bring
remained
them here?
unfazed by her scrutiny.
Tammy, beaming,
Thea
replied,
Dawson scoffed. Elder sister said father and
Captain,
mother worked
I've
so
only
hard.
met him twice.
They should have extra
Both
eggs
times
for
at
nourishment.
home.
With Tammy Dawson
Mother,
and Naomi
the
present.
eggs elder sister made are
I haven't
delicious.
seen him since the engagement.
Try them.
He's lying
A smile
to force me
spread
to
across
marry him.
Holly's face.
Captain Dawson
Your sister
pulled the
has a
rotten
good
tomato
heart.
out of Seth Rollins'
Though her
mouth.
daughter's temperament had changed
Is what
drastically,
Diana said true?
arguing and infuriating.
Did you lie about
her
having a
filial
job to
piety
trick the
remained.
Lynn family into agreeing to the
Sister-in-law
marriage?
Ben, sitting
Seth
nearby,
Rollins
vehemently
vehemently denied
denied
it. Chimed in, examining the eggs.
The
These
job
steamed
is real.
eggs look delicious.
I've
soft
already
and
found it.
fragrant, unlike
She
mine.
can start
which
as
are
soon
either
as she
too
marries
hard
me.
or too runny.
Seeing his
The praise
desperation,
for her daughter
Thea
deepened
Dawson
Holly's
sneered.
smile. Oh really?
However,
What
the
kind of
pleasant
jobs
atmosphere
did you
was
find
soon
me?
shattered.
I'm talking
Aunt
about
Zoe,
nearby,
proper
remarked
position,
pointedly,
not
Holly,
some temporary
you truly
gig
spoil
that can
your
disappear
children.
any minute.
Days after
Seth
falling in
Rollins
the water
was startled.
and still a headache. How did Diana Dawson
Clearly,
know about
she's
these
just
things?
making excuses.
Everyone starts
Diana's
with a temporary
18.
position
If
at the
people
factory.
know she's lazy,
Who'll
he'd
want to
assumed
arrange a
Dylan
marriage?
Dawson and Holly Lewis
Holly
were
Lewis's
ignorant of the
cheerful
outside
mood was
world and
instantly
easily
ruined
fooled by
Everyone
the
in
promise
this
of a
village
job.
knows my Diana has
Once
been
they
diligent
were married,
since she was
he
a child
figured they
and
wouldn't
has
cause
never
a
caused
fuss.
me any worry.
He hadn't
Unlike
anticipated
your
this
Urzi,
upheaval
who's
just
always
3
the first
days
to eat
before
but
the wedding.
vanishes when it's time to work.
Captain Dawson cut to the
Vanishes.
chase.
Just
My
tell us
Urzi
what
was
the
there
job
to
is.
collect the threshed grain.
Skip the fluff.
Holly Lewis retorted,
If Seth
"Oh,
Rollins
really?
worked at the factory in their
Where?
district, he might have
Point
shown
him
some
out to me.
leniency. But if it was
Aunt
in another
Zoe,
district,
unable to
there was
find
no
her
need
son
for
after
courtesy.
searching,
Learned he'd gone
It's,
home to eat. A sanitation
meeting
worker
Holly
at the
Lewis's
factory.
mocking gaze,
Captain
she
Dawson
moved
frowned
to a different spot to eat her
Sanitation workers have to
With
train
Toby
at the
Dawson
hospital
and
and
Naomi
pass an
Dawson at
exam
work.
before being
Thea
assigned.
Dawson went inside to read.
Diana may be literate,
After
but she
an
knows
hour,
nothing
her
about
eyes
medicine
tired,
or diseases.
she grabbed a basket and went
How
to the
could
back
she be
of
a
the house to
sanitation
pick
worker?
vegetables.
Seth
Rounding
Rollins
the corner of the house
clarified,
towards the
not
garden,
a medical
she spotted
sanitation
Penny
worker,
Turner's younger brother,
a janitor,
Timothy Turner,
a
uprooting their
sweeper.
vegetables.
A cleaning
He
job
wasn't
dressed
picking
up
them,
as a
he was ripping them
sanitation
out,
worker,
roots and all.
Thea Dawson
In the
nearly
blink
cursed.
of an eye,
A bitter melon
for a
plant
peasant,
was yanked
finding
from the
paid
earth.
work was a blessing from the
Thea
ancestors,
Dawson's blood
a job
boiled.
not to be picky about.
Their food came from this
However,
garden.
the
It was
team
practically
captain
the
sensed
family's
malice hidden
lifeblood.
within him and pressed further.
She snapped
How
a
long
finger-thick
until it
piece
becomes
of bamboo
bamboo
from the fence and
Seth
marched into the
Rollins'
garden.
expression hardened.
Hearing the noise,
6 months,
Timothy Turner,
he replied,
mid-uprooting, saw
Team
Thea
Captain
Dawson's
Dawson,
murderous
no
expression
longer
and
trusting
bolted.
him, said pointedly,
Unfortunately,
my GNU
his little
often
legs
holds
couldn't
goods to
carry
the
him
county.
away fast enough.
He'll conveniently check
Thea
on
Dawson
this.
caught up, tripped
If
him,
I hear
and
you've
then
lied,
brought the bamboo
I'll report
down
you to
hard.
the authorities.
Timothy Turner
A cold
wailed,
sweat broke
screaming
out
for
on
Seth
Seth
Rollins. An elderly
There
woman,
was no
hearing the
sanitation
cries,
position at
rushed
the
over
mine.
and, seeing
There
Thea
was only a
Dawson
worker
beating
with
Timothy
a slipped
Turner,
disc
yelled,
needing
6
Diana.
months off.
What are you doing?
And they were looking for a temporary
Stop it.
replacement. After more
This
than
wasn't
10
a secret.
lashes,
Anyone
Thea
could
Dawson
find out
stopped
by asking
pointing
around
to
the
the
mine.
uprooted vegetables scattered
Team
on the
Captain
ground.
Dawson,
I was blinded
Grandma
by
7,
infatuation.
he came into
truly
our garden
wanting to
and
marry.
pulled everything up.
But since Diana
It's lucky I
isn't
was
interested,
home and happened
let's
to come
forget
out
it.
to pick vegetables.
Unripe melons aren't
If I
sweet.
hadn't seen him, what would we
I
eat?
agreed to break off the engagement.
She had controlled her strength.
Team
Despite
Captain
the
Dawson,
beating,
not
the
wanting
chubby
to
Timothy
escalate the
Turner
situation,
only suffered
asked
superficial
Thea Dawson,
injuries.
What do you think about this?
Thea Dawson wanted to
Thea
scare him
Dawson
enough
was
to never do
unmoved,
it again.
still
They
insistent
couldn't
on
rely
taking
on being
him to the
lucky enough to
authorities.
catch him every time.
His job was on the
Grandma
line if
7,
she reported
who
hated wasted food,
terror
finally
finally
gripped
gripped
Seth
Seth
Rollins
Rollins.
and cursed, calling it a sin.
Diana, I was blinded by
Timothy
greed.
Turner cried and protested,
Please,
I
spare
didn't
me
mean
this
to.
time.
I was
If
just
you agree
playing.
not to report me,
Thea
I can
Dawson,
compensate you.
suppressing her anger,
Team
said,
Captain
you
Dawson
destroyed my
didn't want to
family's
escalate
garden.
things by involving
I'm
the
taking
authorities.
you to the Public Security Bureau
Firstly,
to be shot.
it would reflect poorly
She
on him.
pointed to her temple. Secondly,
The
he
bullet
feared
will
Thea
go right
Dawson
through
wouldn't
here.
be able to bear
the weight
Your
of
blood
gossip
and brains
rumors
will splatter all over the ground.
Seeing Thea Dawson's unwavering stance,
trembled
he
in
called
fear.
upon her family to reason
I don't
with
want
her.
to be shot.
Thea Dawson's
I don't want a
resolve
bullet
was
through
firm.
my head.
Teen
Grandma
Captain,
7
there's no
shuddered.
need to persuade me.
She'd heard that after
I
Diana
won't
fell
change
into
my
the
mind.
water, her tongue became
Teen
sharp
Captain
as a
Dawson
knife.
hadn't expected such
She thought it
firmness
was
from
an
her.
exaggeration, but
However,
now she saw
it was
it was
also
true.
a good thing.
Thea
With
Dawson,
someone strong
having
in the
only
next
meant to frighten
generation,
him,
others
saw
wouldn't
his
dare
genuine
bully
terror
their
and
family.
said, Then tell me, you're determined to take him to the authorities. But have you considered the consequences?
The police won't arrest you.
I'm not
only
afraid
the
of
person
gossip
who put you up to it.
It was just idle
Without
chatter
hesitation,
to pass the time.
Timothy Turner blurted,
Let them
it was
talk.
my older sister.
It wouldn't take a piece out of her.
She told me to do it.
Besides, in 2
She said
years,
if I pulled
the
up all your
university
vegetables,
entrance exam
she'd give me
restrictions
milk
would be
candy.
lifted, and she'd be
She
leaving
wants
this
to
place.
uproot the entire garden.
The teen
leaving their
captain
family
shook
with
his
nothing
head.
to eat.
Diana,
Granny,
old
that
man sure
hearing
was a
this,
thug in
was
his youth,
furious,
and his
that
3
three
brothers
child,
are all
how
ruthless.
can she be so wicked?
If you report
Seth
Seth
Rollins
Rollins
and
and
he loses
completely
his job,
unfazed,
you'll be
replied,
making a mortal
she's
enemy.
always been malicious.
Your
Granny
family
that
will never have peace.
Please be my witness
Even
later.
if I spare him, there's
Granny
no
that
guarantee
nodded
of
in
peace.
agreement.
Teen Captain Dawson
didn't
said,
release Timothy
with a job,
Turner. He'll have something to
Instead,
lose and won't
she
dare
dragged him to
retaliate.
the front yard and tied
But
him
if
up.
you cause him to lose his
She
job,
also left
a
the
cornered
vegetable
dog
garden
will jump
untouched.
over a wall. All of this would serve
His
as
whole
evidence
family
for
will
Captain
come
Dawson
after yours.
and his family. Your family
Just
only
then,
has your
Trent
father
called
as
from
a man.
outside.
Cousin, what
Cousin.
will you do if something
Hearing
unfortunate
Trent's
happens?
voice,
Thea Dawson
this
put
laid
down her
bare
pen
the stark
and went
reality
outside.
of their situation.
Seeing the tall man beside
Dawson
Trent,
fell
she
silent.
hurried to open the door. She went outside
Uncle,
and told Seth
why are
Rollins,
you here too?
I won't report you.
Uncle
but
Lewis
you must write
stepped
into the yard and
admitting
set down
to
the
the
marriage
marriage
deception
deception
and
carrying.
slandering my reputation.
Trent said you're about to
If
take
you
the
don't,
textile
I'll take you to the
factory worker
authorities
exam.
right now. Diana,
With this
Trent said
confession,
you're 80%
even if
sure
Seth
of
Rollins
passing.
harbored resentment.
Is
He
that
wouldn't
true?
dare act against her family.
Thea Dawson
at least not
repeated
in
her
the short
previous
term.
statement. Right now,
As for the future,
it's only 50%.
if she couldn't even handle
but if I
a
studied
Seth
with that
Rollins,
person for
she'd
a
have
month,
lived all
I
these
can be
years
80%
in vain.
sure. Captain
Uncle
Dawson
Lewis
looked
looked
at
at
the
Thea
well and
Dawson
gulped
with
down a
different
dipper of
eyes
water,
than before.
looking much like a cow drinking.
To protect his job,
Even
Thea,
though Seth Rollins was unhappy,
Dawson went back
he
inside
gritted
to
his
get a
teeth
wash
and wrote a
basin
letter
and
of
towel
apology,
for the father and
making
son
2
to
copies,
wash their faces,
then signing and fingerprinting
It was
them.
such a hot day,
Captain
and they must
Dawson
have been
and
sweating
Elizabeth
from their
Cat,
walk.
as witnesses,
Sitting
also
in the main
signed
room,
above.
Uncle Lewis asked,
Thea
Diana,
Dawson kept
what
one
did
of the
your
2
parents
apology
say?
letters and gave the
My
other to
parents
Captain
agreed.
Dawson right in front of
Uncle
Seth
Lewis
Rollins,
was
saying
incredulous.
that if anything unexpected
Diana,
happened to her,
this is a
she
big decision,
would
concerning your
hand this
entire
confession
future.
letter over to the police.
You're not deceiving me, are you?
Captain Dawson agreed. Thea Dawson wasn't
Seth
lying.
Rollins was both shocked
It's
and
true.
scared.
He hadn't
My
thought
mother
Thea
initially
Dawson
disagreed,
would act so
but my
shrewdly.
father said to let me try.
Had he known she was this formidable,
He even persuaded my
absolutely
mother,
wouldn't
saying
have come
that
to
if I don't
propose.
pass,
We'll only lose
not only
$10,
a letter of apology,
but if I get accepted,
Thea Dawson
it'll be
also
like a
took
carp leaping over the
160
Dragon
coins
Gate
as compensation for
no one will
reputational
look down on
damage.
our family again. Elizabeth Cat
Uncle
felt it
Lewis
was too
thought
much,
to himself
knowing
that his
that a
brother-in-law
town worker
was
only
fortunate
earned
to be
about
discerning,
20 coins a
letting
month.
his wife take charge.
She pulled
ensuring
Thea
this
Dawson
child,
aside
Diana,
and said,
wouldn't
Diana,
be delayed.
if this gets out,
No,
people will
Diana
think you're greedy,
truly had been
and it'll
delayed.
be hard to talk about marriage.
Thea Dawson said,
Thea
Uncle,
Dawson
please
asked
rest
back,
here.
slightly surprised.
I'll go cook.
And Cat, there are only
Uncle
6
Lewis
of us
waved
here.
his hand,
If we don't
declining the
tell, who
offer
will
of
know?
food.
After
Then,
saying that,
he took out
she looked
$30
towards
from
Seth
his
Rollins
pocket
and
and
gave
asked,
it to Thea
if I
Dawson.
hear even half a whisper about
Going
me
to the
outside,
district town,
I'll take
food
this
and
letter to the
lodging will
police.
cost money. Seth
Take
Rollins
this.
hastily replied,
If
Don't
it's not
worry,
enough,
miss,
ask
I
someone
won't
to let
breathe
me
a
know.
word. If
Thea
I do,
Dawson
may
couldn't
I die a
accept his
horrible
money.
death with no place
She
to be
stepped
buried.
back and said,
He was now
I don't
regretting
need
it like crazy. My family has
Had he
money.
known
Diana Dawson would
Uncle
become
Lewis
like a
scolded
vengeful
her
demon
with a smile.
after falling
Do
into
I
the
not
river.
know whether
He
your
should have
family
agreed
has
to
money
break
or
off
not.
the engagement earlier.
Your uncle is giving it
He
to
wouldn't
you,
have had
so
to come
take
running
it.
and suffer such a
Or do
beating
you find
and
it
lose
too
so
little
much
and
money
beneath you?
Thea Dawson
Dawson
snorted,
felt that
washed
this
the
was
blood
what
off your
family
head
was
and
truly
face and
about.
get out. Trust, love,
With his
and
weakness
mutual
in
support.
Thea
Dawson's hands,
she
Seth
pushed the
Rollins
money
didn't
back.
dare to object.
Uncle, I'm not
He
lying
cleaned
to you.
himself up and hurriedly
My
left.
family really does have
Seeing
money.
the matter resolved,
A few
Captain
days ago,
Dawson
the
also
Rollins
left
family
with
broke
Elizabeth
off the
Cat.
engagement,
and my
After
family
going
received
outside,
$160
he said to
in
Elizabeth Cat,
compensation. Don't tell anyone about what
Uncle
just
Lewis
happened.
was astonished.
Otherwise, if Diana
He
really
knew
gets
about
confused
Diana's
and
broken
jumps into the
engagement
river
with
again,
the Rollins
it'll be
family.
a great sin on you.
After all,
As
as
her
her
uncle,
uncle,
Cat's
he would
face
have attended
stiffened,
the wedding
and she
feast.
said unnaturally,
If
Captain,
there wasn't going to
what
be
are
a
you saying?
feast, they would have
How
informed
could
him.
I dare to spread such a
Uncle
thing?
Lewis hadn't initially
Good to
known
know.
about this marriage proposal.
He then left. He only
As
found
soon as
out when the
Captain
wedding
Dawson
date
and
was
the
set
others
and had
left,
flown into
Holly
a rage.
Lewis rushed forward and snatched
However,
the money from
the other
Thea Dawson had already arranged a job for Diana, it would disappear, and breaking off the engagement would have damaged her reputation. Seeing Thea Dawson frown, he had been quite happy to hear about the broken engagement 2 days prior. But he had been too busy with family matters to inquire further. The Rollins family tricked me into an engagement the money and then Thea Dawson's reputation, saying, "Why can't I accept your mother's temperament, tight-fisted? Besides, if you want to go to the district, the price she'll make sure you leave with barely a penny. Otherwise he'll definitely take revenge on us. You can't leave home without money. Keep this. People are like that. If anything happens and you need money, you won't have to beg anyone. The ruthless, and the ruthless fear the desperate. Refusing would be rejecting Uncle's kindness. Knew she was fierce and unafraid of death, so he wouldn't dare to act rashly, saying, "Uncle, I'll keep it for now." After hearing this, if I don't use it, I'll return it quietly. After this incident, this time you're not allowed to do anything crazy. Nodding in agreement, then retrieved the basket of heart stirred. This time, her daughter, he brought her suicide attempt, a piece of dried meat, much more aggressive, rabbits, like a different 2 jars of honey, 2 bags of mushrooms, as she forced herself to ask calmly, "Diana, also plums, how did you suddenly become so strong?" Thea Dawson someone to the ground with one kick. Trent brought back 2 pieces of dried meat the other day. Why are you bringing more? It's not about great strength. Take it back. It's just the right touch. If my mother finds out, she'll scold me to death. Taught me these things. Some married women like to go back, so I didn't tell you to scrounge for things. When Diana was 6, she carried Nancy Dawson on her back to cut pigweed and accidentally hit her head, and she would causing a lot of bleeding. Of course, on their way back was far less than what they met an old woman named Chunok too. Hearing this, the uncle laughed and said, "She can't scold you. Thanks to her, Diana's forehead didn't scar for you. Take them to the district, was from Dawson's village, or give them away." When Diana was 5, she arrived in Dawson's village carrying her husband's ashes. Uncle wanted to go to the supply and marketing cooperative. No one had seen her before. In the mountains, with her marriage certificate, as long as one wasn't lazy of money, they wouldn't starve. She easily built a house had to be bought from outside. At that time, hearing the villagers advised her to adopt a child, I bought 3 bags of salt when I went to the district yesterday. When Diana was 8, you can take them. 2 accidentally I fell and broke for the house tomorrow. The team assigned someone to care for her, then, but they weren't attentive. Uncle Lewis took the salt and left, visited and refusing to stay no matter what. Thea Dawson to the team leader and then took on the responsibility of caring for the elderly woman, Dawson, washing clothes, since cooking, you've made up your mind, tea prepare well and don't burden yourself. Dedication. Trent doesn't do much at home, let him go with you tomorrow. She taught Diana to read. He mainly worried Diana was intelligent and hardworking, a young woman, and with the old woman's help, swindlers, she managed to get her primary school diploma. With Trent Lewis by her side, that same those year, hoodlums wouldn't dare to have any bad intentions. Before her death, she urged Diana to continue her studies and strive to get her lower secondary diploma. After he left, because of her dying words, asked Diana, studied did your mother know about her secondary so many diploma? Charlie Lewis then asked, "Mother keeps everything locked up. You fell and injured your arm at the beginning of the year, leaving a large scar. She even told me to take better. Do you remember injuring your arm? Care of you." Thea Dawson felt that Holly Lewis was very astute, probing her. She rolled up her right sleeve, revealing a large, walnut-shaped scar. Trent knew how to cook, but it was limited to edible. "Mother, don't expect this scar isn't from a fall, it's a burn from Nancy Dawson. To cook rabbit, but after searching the whole house, because Nancy Dawson was dissatisfied with Tammy Dawson's disobedience, Trent Lewis chuckled. She casually picked up a smoldering piece of firewood and swung it. Didn't our parents give us dried meat and smoked rabbit? Stepped forward to intervene. We can just make something similar to land on her arm. Thea Dawson made steamed rice with dried meat. Holly Lewis stir-fried 2 vegetable dishes and a pot of soup. It seemed her daughter wasn't possessed by a water ghost. Returned home and saw the dried meat on the table. Possession would have required a shaman for an exorcism. Seeing the lock still intact, didn't overthink, she breathed a sigh of relief, and said, "After yesterday, let's hurry." She was truly afraid Thea Dawson would pry open the cupboard. He left. Trent Lewis there was still enough time to earn and 2 or 3 sent this dried meat. Holly Lewis hid the money inside the house. Holly Lewis hurried out with a Trent, take these things back tomorrow. Thea Dawson felt very weary and returned to so many good things. Holding her head. Is your family doing that well lately? Seeing Naomi Dawson following Lewis chuckled. She smiled and said, "These aren't for you. Don't worry. The engagement my parents sent them for cousin Thea. I definitely won't Thea try Dawson to die." Added, "Mother, go play." Lewis helped me find an accounting tutor. She fell asleep on the bed, had to give him a thank you gift. And by the time she woke up, his family is wealthy and wants for nothing. She went to the door and saw Tammy Dawson washing rice, and Naomi Lewis was also grateful for her brother's thoughtfulness. Tammy Dawson, Diana, upon your uncle cares so much for you, smiled and asked, "Remember this, big sister, are you feeling better?" "Mother, I'll always remember." Dawson Uncle saw the girl pouring out the rice water and quickly caught it in a wooden basin. Satisfaction. "Don't pour this out later." Just then, Bernard Turner and Susie Morgan came running. It was a collective system now. They yelled from outside. They could only raise Dawson, chickens at home, my son, not pigs, so the rice water wasn't used and was directly poured out. "If anything happens to him, I'll risk my life against you." Curiously asked, "Big sister, sensing something was going to do with the rice water?" Asked, "Diana, what's your face?" Thea Dawson went to the woodshed and carried out a soundly sleeping Timothy. She had to endure it. Since Timothy was just a child, she was too poor to afford whitening his hands and feet. Unlike Seth Rollins, even if she had money as well, she couldn't buy any. Bernard Turner flew into a rage she could only use the most primitive method. Ignoring the door covers 100 uglinesses. Thea aside and asked, darkness drags down one's appearance by half. Why did you tie up Timothy Turner? Diana didn't understand skincare. He came into our garden and pulled up all the vegetables, so I tied him up. Washing your face with rice water. Holly Lewis's focus on the gifts from her brother had prevented Thea from explaining water first, then rinse with well water. Holly Lewis rushed out to the vegetable garden like a looked outside, then whispered, the scorching summer sun had already wilted all the uprooted vegetables in less than 2 hours. Their family didn't have a well. They had to fetch Holly Lewis from the village. This was no different from murder. Usually, Dylan Dawson covered her ears at the piercing, but when he was busy, the task fell upon Nancy Dawson. Would be angry. It wasn't that Diana Dawson was lazy. Dylan Dawson leading the bound Timothy Turner to the ravaged garden. She won't dare scold. Saw the ruined vegetables in his eyes. She wasn't the original owner. If anyone dared to be disrespectful to Bernard Turner, she would show them what it felt like to be beaten down. Susie Morgan tried to intervene, finished washing her face. Wouldn't let her. She went behind the house to pick vegetables and kicked Susie Morgan's legs, sending her sprawling. Because there were 7 people in the family, she was about to ask Nancy Dawson 7% when she saw Trent rush in. Their large family had only one strong laborer. Bernard Turner's face was bruised and bloody, and the rest Susie Morgan lay on the ground. The variety in the vegetable garden was abundant, seeing Captain Dawson, chili peppers, Susie Morgan cried, winged beans, Diana Dawson pinned me down and beat me. My whole body is in chili pepper and some eggplants before returning. You must get me justice. The kitchen only had oil and salt. Even the lard oil was almost gone. Helped Susie inside for an examination, telling herself that she had to quickly go to the city to find a job. Bruises on her arm. They really couldn't survive. Nancy Dawson looked bewildered. Thea Dawson painstakingly stood nearby and witnessed her older sister striking the shrewd bitter melon with chili peppers. Now there were no injuries, winged beans, and how was that with egg soup? Thea Dawson had a subtle way of to make some simple without leaving visible previous life. Otherwise, hearing that relying on Diana's had no real injuries, they probably wouldn't be at the ground, slapping her thighs and wailing. Said worriedly, elder sister, you used up all the oil. If mother finds out, why don't you send down a lightning bolt and strike these vicious people dead? Mother won't scold me. Susie Morgan immediately retorted. She received $160 in compensation. That's why your family's line will end. She would definitely Holly Lewis's face stiffened. Not having a son was her deepest sorrow. The rooster's loud crow woke Thea Dawson found this laughable and shot back. In your eyes, she felt someone get up and open her eyes, but a daughter finding that it was still dark outside. You're a woman yourself. Why are you getting up before dawn? By that logic, you're calling yourself an animal, said, not a person. If you're not feeling well, Holly go back to sleep. For the first time, I felt it was a good thing her daughter had become sharp. Thea Dawson mumbled in agreement. Susie Morgan raged. Diana Dawson, when she woke up again, she found herself alone in bed. I'd have jumped in the river and drowned myself. Thea Dawson put on her heavily patched clothes and went outside. Thea Dawson, walking out of the room, she saw Naomi Dawson. Don't you worry about me. Thea Dawson, not only will I not kill my father and mother, I'll live better than ever. Naomi Dawson pointed to the large mountain behind them and said, your rotting corpse will go unnoticed. Father and mother took second sister Captain Dawson's head to gather firewood. He roared, hearing this, Susie Morgan, Thea Dawson, if you felt a pang of distress. Up, I'll 7 years ago, Timothy Holly Lewis had suffered severe postpartum hemorrhage. He understood the whole story and utterly detested the Turner's behavior. Because of this, the family had fallen deeply into debt. This couple had to support the family. Scene. Dylan Dawson went up the mountain showing to cut firewood every day they weren't dawn and after work. These words he would successfully shut Susie Morgan up. Bundle it to deliver to his cousin. Turner was already grown. In 2 years, of course, she could be said to be a gift for a bride, but it was actually sold. Her son was her lifeline. His cousin would give him money or exchange goods. Everyone returned to the courtyard. This cousin was very shrewd, knowing that Dylan Dawson's family had no other options. Bernard Turner, she would only pay half the market price, what just happened, feeling as though she was helping Dylan Dawson to compensate us. Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis out a mouthful they were being pressured, but they had no other compensate choice. For their losses, was the only path but they have to pay for our medical expenses. While Tammy Dawson was Dylan Dawson scoffed. Dylan Dawson specifically asked her to add an egg for Thea Dawson. Go ask the king of hell. Toby Dawson stared at the egg scolded, Thea Dawson's what nonsense are you spouting? And as Thea Dawson was about to eat death and she blurted out, leaving your wife and 5 kids behind. Thea Dawson looked at her and said, we can sit down and discuss this like Tammy Dawson gets up early to cook and do Bernard laundry. Turner declared there was nothing to discuss and sweeps the yard. If Dylan Dawson didn't pay the medical bills, what did you do this morning? Them. Toby Dawson's voice dropped low. Thea Dawson divided half of the egg for Naomi Dawson, saying, tonight Naomi Dawson every single vegetable so she can eat an egg. If we can't work, neither so you don't get an egg.
Her family,
Toby Dawson
anxiously said,
were targets
I'll
of bullying
definitely work
in the
tomorrow.
village.
Give me the egg first.
This was why Toby Dawson
From
and
today
Naomi
on,
Dawson
if
were
you don't
often
work,
beaten.
you won't get any good things.
This time, they couldn't back
because
down.
Toby Dawson was lazy
Bernard
and didn't
Turner
like to be
glared
clean.
at Thea
Holly
Dawson.
Lewis had beaten her countless
If you dare
times,
touch a single
but it was
vegetable in my
useless.
garden, I'll kill you.
Thea Dawson felt that
Toby
to change
Dawson
her,
and
they had
Naomi
to start
Dawson
with
hid
food.
behind Holly Lewis.
Seeing Naomi Dawson,
Nancy
come
Dawson
into the
and
kitchen
Tammy
take out
Dawson
a piece
also
of oil
fearfully
paper,
stepped
Thea
back.
Dawson curiously asked,
But Thea Dawson
I told you to
showed
get a
no
bowl.
fear.
Why are you taking this?
She took 2 steps
Naomi
forward
Dawson
and pointed
whispered,
at her head.
Breakfast is almost
Kill
ready.
me.
Go
I'll
ahead.
keep this egg and eat it when I'm
Hit me
hungry.
here. Saying
One
that,
blow should do
she
it.
carefully placed half of
Holly
the egg
Lewis,
in the oil paper,
frantic,
gently
tried to
wrapping
intervene,
her
but
solemn
Dylan
attitude
Dawson
as
held
if
her
she were
back
doing
and shook
something
his head.
sacred.
Bernard
Toby
Turner
Dawson,
wouldn't dare.
not getting an egg,
Burst
killing
into
Thea
tears.
Dawson meant paying with his own life.
Contrasting the 2 girls with her
Everyone
own
was
childhood
stunned by
when
Thea
her
Dawson's
grandmother
actions.
coaxed her to eat eggs and cake.
Thea Dawson
sneered.
suddenly felt ashamed.
Trying to scare me.
A while later,
I've already
Dylan
died
Dawson,
once.
Holly Lewis,
You can't
and Nancy
frighten me.
Dawson returned. Now tell me,
The 3
how will you
quickly
compensate
washed
my
their
faces and ate? If I'm not satisfied,
Because they had to start
I'll uproot
working
every
immediately.
plant you own. They ate very quickly. Dealing with
And Thea
scoundrels
Dawson
like Bernard
felt a
Turner
pang of
requires
sadness
courage.
seeing this.
Fear only emboldens
As
their
the
malice.
whistle blew outside,
A
the
show
couple
of
immediately
defiance,
dropped their
however,
chopsticks,
can deter
grabbed
them.
their farming tools,
Susie
and
Morgan
went out.
raged,
You
followed
dare
closely
pull up
by
our
Nancy
vegetables?
Dawson and Tammy Dawson.
I'll pull up all of yours.
Toby Dawson and Naomi
Captain
Dawson were still too
anger.
young to
Do
work
you
in
two
the fields,
families intend
but
to
they
starve?
could collect pigweed and herd
Bernard
cattle.
Turner,
Susie
These
Morgan,
were light
will you
tasks,
replace the
specifically
vegetables or pay
assigned
by
for
the
them?
team leader considering
Thea
their
Dawson
family's
promptly
difficulties?
replied,
Otherwise,
we'll take the money,
the sisters
not their
wouldn't have gotten
vegetables.
them. Whether
This showed
collecting
that the
from the
team
leader
leader
was
a
or
good
having them
person.
deliver the replacement
Thea
vegetables
Dawson
would
wasn't
inevitably
idle
lead to
either.
further arguments.
She first took the sheets
Accepting
and
money
mats
would
out to
avoid
sun
these
them,
complications,
then swept and tidied
allowing
the
them
kitchen.
to purchase a wider variety
Naomi
of
Dawson
vegetables from
returned
other
from
villagers.
herding the cattle and saw the cupboard,
Captain Dawson
pots,
also
pans,
thought monetary
and bowls by the
compensation was
door.
best. Thea,
She
what
scratched
amount
her
do you
head,
deem
her
appropriate?
face puzzled, and
I
asked,
don't want much.
What are you doing,
Just 10
sister?
yuan.
Thea
Susie
Dawson
Morgan
wiped
shrieked,
her sweat,
10 yuan
smiling.
for a few
The
vegetables.
kitchen was too dirty.
Diana Dawson,
I'm
are you mad
reorganizing
with
it.
greed? I'm going to
Thea
rest
Dawson
for a bit.
calmly stated,
If
you
you
get
can
ready to
revive the
cook.
vegetables. Timothy Turner
Diana
pulled
Dawson
up.
had
I won't
always
take
been
any
hardworking,
money. So Naomi
Susie
Dawson
Morgan
didn't
resorted
respect
to playing
anything.
the victim,
Claiming
Near
poverty
noon,
while
the two
clinging
began to
fiercely
cook.
to her life. Thea Dawson
Captain
was preparing
Dawson,
to stir
tired
fry
of the
vegetables
bickering,
when suddenly a
considered
cry
for a moment
came from
and said,
outside. Thea, these
Naomi
wax gourds
Dawson
and beams
dropped
only
the fire
cost 1 mao
tongs,
per jean
stood
at
up,
the county
and
store.
said,
Fourth sister
10
is
yuan
crying.
is excessive.
When they
3
went out
yuan
of the
is
kitchen,
sufficient.
they saw Nancy Dawson
Thea
dragging
Dawson
a
didn't
sobbing
even
Toby
consult
Dawson
Dylan Dawson.
into the yard. 3 yuan is too
One
little.
had messy hair and blood
5
on
yuan,
her face,
and it
the
must
other
be
had a
paid
clear
now.
handprint on her cheek.
Susie Morgan protested
Thea
loudly.
Dawson was
No
about
way,
to speak
Captain.
when
Nancy Dawson shoved
5
Toby
yuan
Dawson
is
to the
too
ground,
much.
furiously scolding.
1 yuan at
Were you
most.
reborn a starving ghost?
Captain Dawson,
How many times
exasperated
have
by
I
the
told you
Turner's
not to
initial
snatch other
provocation
people's
and their
food,
continued
yet it goes in
obstinacy
one
despite
ear and out
Thea's
the other.
compromise, declared,
You deserve
if you
to be beaten
refuse,
to death.
the amount will be deducted
Thea
from your share
Dawson's
at the
face
end of the
darkened
year.
upon hearing this.
Bernard Turner,
If it were
unwilling
just children
to
playing
antagonize
around,
Captain
Toby
Dawson
Dawson
further,
making a
sullenly
mistake and
agreed.
the other child retaliating
Thea
harshly
Dawson
would
then
be
added,
understandable.
Captain,
Last time
but an
Penny
adult
Turner
striking a child
impersonated me
is
to claim work
unacceptable.
points and slandered me.
If they didn't pursue this,
You gave her
the
a
other
chance
family
to
would
reform
think they were
because of
easy
her
targets.
Yet,
Nancy
just
Dawson
days
looked
later,
at her still
she
crying
instigated
sister
Timothy
and
Turner
angrily
to
kicked
destroy
her.
our vegetables.
Cry,
Captain,
cry.
without strict punishment,
You still
she
have
might
the
set
face
our
to
house
cry.
on fire next. You've lost all our
Granny
faith.
7, present as a witness,
Thea Dawson
exclaimed
pulled her sister
Shibe,
back,
saying,
this girl's heart
Toby
is
Dawson
too
was
poisonous
wrong,
to be kept,
but she's already like this.
Send her for re-education.
Don't hit her anymore.
With the government's
Nancy
guidance,
Dawson
perhaps
flung
she
Thea
can be
Dawson's
reformed.
hand away, her
They
eyes
felt
red-rimmed.
uneasy about her remaining
It's
in the
all your
village.
fault.
Captain
If you had
Dawson
quietly
no longer
waited to
dared
get
to be
married and
lenient
hadn't
with Penny
gone
Turner.
crazy and fallen into the
His
river
previous
with the
leniency,
Rollins.
based on her perceived
Family's
momentary
backing,
lapse
they
in
wouldn't dare
judgment,
bully
had
us like
clearly
this.
backfired. Back then,
Bernard
she was
Turner and
overjoyed
Susie
at the
Morgan
prospect
objected,
of this marriage,
but their descent was futile.
With such a powerful
Captain
brother-in-law,
Dawson
not
located
only would
Penny
they have
Turner
a tiled
at the
roof
Turner's
house and a
residence
better
and
life,
personally
but
escorted
no
her to
one in
the
the village would dare bully
commune.
them.
Dawson. But her happiness was short-lived. Sporting a bruised and discolored the marriage fell apart after just 2 days, his injury and their family situation became even worse. Thea Dawson's heart ached every time she thought about it. She felt especially resentful. Thea Dawson offered the apricots from the bowl to Holly Lewis, acknowledging the mother's family is a household provider. Would you push your own sister into a pit of fire just for a better life? Eldest Nancy sister, Dawson disagreed, you're the best. Pointing at Thea Dawson's nose and scolding, fetch 6 bowls. What pit of fire? Trent Lewis hastily waved his hand, clearly a nest of blessings. I don't want any.
give it to the younger
few
ones.
Gossiping words.
I ate too much
your
yesterday
own stupidity.
and my jaw
Don't
still
drag
aches.
us down with
I
you.
don't dare eat anymore.
Nancy Dawson
The
didn't
five
know about
siblings
yesterday's
each took
broken
a bowl.
engagement.
Holly Lewis put the rest
Dylan
into
Dawson
a large
and Holly
bowl,
Lewis
preparing
hadn't
to give
told
it
her,
away.
so she still thought Seth
Thea
Rollins
Dawson
was
said
a
a little
person.
helplessly, "Mother,
Thea
keep
Dawson
some for
ignored
yourself."
Nancy Dawson.
Dylan
Dawson
is
Toby
injured.
Dawson up.
It's best
and then
he eats
scoop some water
now.
to wash her face.
Your father and I
gently,
have bad teeth.
Who hit you?
We can't eat this at
Toby
night.
Dawson sobbed.
After
Timothy
saying
Turner's
that,
mother
she
hit
took
me.
the large bowl and went out.
I didn't mean to, but
Dylan
the white
Dawson
rabbit creamy
also
candy
returned
was
to his
so
bedroom.
delicious, I couldn't resist.
Because he went to work very early
Thea
in the
Dawson
morning.
quickly
He
thought,
worked an hour
Timothy
later
Turner,
in the afternoon.
Penny Turner's second younger
Of
brother.
course, it was mainly because
Yes.
it was too hot and he was
The
afraid
Turner
the
family
family
had
members
3
would get
daughters
heat
and
stroke.
2 sons.
Tammy Dawson
Mr. and
followed
Mrs.
Thea
Turner
Dawson
went
into the
hardworking,
room and asked
and their life
curiously,
was even harder
"Sister,
than theirs.
You clearly hit Timothy
Where would they
Turner's
get
mother
the money
just
to
now.
buy creamy
Why
candy?
couldn't old Mrs. Seven's
A
family
thought
find
struck
any
Thea
injuries?
Dawson.
I
Was
hit
the
a place
candy
that
from
won't leave
Lily
a mark.
Dawson's family?
Tammy Dawson
Toby
said
Dawson
excitedly,
sobbed.
"Sister,
Yes,
can
Sister
you teach
Lily's
me?"
family not only gave
Learning
us
some
white rabbit
self-defense
creamy
moves
candy
would
and
allow
a big
them to
piece of
protect
meat,
themselves
but
in case
also
of
2
danger.
boxes of
So
malt
Thea
extract
Dawson
for Sister Penny
immediately
to
agreed.
nourish her body.
It was
also
just
a
that
few
she was
sets of
preparing
clothes
for the
Sister
exam and
Penny.
didn't have time, so
She
she
had
had
been
promised
waiting
to
for
teach
Lily
them after
Dawson
the
to
exam.
tell everyone that Diana
After
was the
giving
one who
away the
saved her,
apricot,
so the
Holly
rumors would
Lewis
collapse.
returned with a sprig of medicinal
Now it
herbs.
seemed the worst-case scenario
After
had
applying
come
it to
pass.
Dylan Dawson's wound,
Toby
she frowned and
Dawson's
asked,
eyes lit up.
"Why did you stop me just now?"
I heard malt extract
Everyone
is
knows
delicious.
Bernard Turner has a fiery
Daniel
temper.
Turner and
What if
Timothy
he really
Turner
laid
are
hands
so
on
lucky.
Diana?
Thea
Dylan Dawson
didn't know
glanced
what
at
to
her
say.
and said, "Why haven't
One
you figured
moment
it out
she was
yet?"
crying her heart out.
Figured
The
out
next she
what?
forgot all about being
Our
beaten at
Diana
the
has
mention of
trained.
food.
Ordinary people can't
This
beat
level
her.
of detachment was truly
Besides,
something else.
with so many people around,
Thea Dawson
Bernard
helped
Turner
Toby Dawson
wouldn't dare lay
smooth
a
her
hand
hair
on
and
the
then
child.
took her hand, preparing
Trained
to go
what?
out.
What
Seeing
nonsense
this,
are you talking
Nancy
about?
Dawson quickly stepped
Dylan
forward to
Dawson
stop
felt
them.
his wife
Her
was
face
too
dark.
clueless, not realizing
What are you
such
doing?
a big thing. If
That
she
true
hadn't trained
isn't
in
someone
martial
to
arts,
mess with.
how could she have beaten
Are
Seth
you going to their
Rollins
door
so
alone
badly
to
that
get
day?
yourself beaten to death?
And today,
Susie
Susie
Morgan
and
was
the wound
beaten,
on her
but there
face
were
were
no
courtesy
injuries
of
on
that
her
shrew's
body.
claws. Hearing this,
Of course,
Holly Lewis
the other
was
woman
startled.
didn't get off
Then who
scot-free.
did she learn from?
She got a good walloping.
Perhaps and chew.
If they hadn't pulled me
Such
off,
a big
that
thing,
harpy
and
wouldn't
that
be able
damn
to crawl
brat
away.
didn't say a word.
Toby Dawson,
You didn't ask.
not wanting to be hit,
Holly
stopped in
Lewis
his
fell
tracks.
silent. Thea
At
Dawson
dusk,
shook her
Thea
head.
Dawson received news
We're
that
not
Penny
going to
Turner
Penny
had been
Turner's
sent
house.
to the
We're
farm
going
and
to
wouldn't
Lily
be able to
Dawson's.
return for a year.
Timothy
A
Turner's
year
milk
wasn't
candies
long,
all come
but
from
at least
Lily.
she could have some peace
If we
during
go
this
there,
time.
maybe we can get some.
Thea Dawson yawned and
Toby
stood
Dawson,
up,
stretching
filled
her
with
limbs
excitement
before
at the
going to
thought,
brush her
tugged
teeth,
at Thea
something
Dawson's
Holly
hand.
Lewis had scolded her for
Sis,
yesterday morning.
let's go, quick.
After brushing her teeth,
Nancy Dawson
she was
flew
called
into
into
the
a
house.
rage.
Holly
Diana
Lewis
Dawson
held a
what are
small
you
blue
trying to
cloth
pull?
bag in her hand and
We
asked,
can't afford to
how
mess
much
with
money?
Lily Dawson's family.
Thea Dawson didn't hide
Diana
it from
Dawson's
her,
real
saying,
name is
Mother,
Lily Dawson.
you don't need to
the
give
same
me
as
money.
Lily Dawson.
I borrowed
The
$100
pronunciation
from
is
Kofi
different.
Dawson.
Not only that, the
Holly
two
Lewis
were born on the
grabbed
same
Thea
day,
Dawson's
but
hand
their
in
lives are
exasperation
completely
and
different.
scolded. Are you out of your
Diana
mind?
Dawson is the eldest
How could
sister
you
in the
borrow
family
money
from
with
Kofi
5
Dawson.
younger sisters?
You'll have to
including
rely
Lydia
on him
Dawson,
to get
who was
into the
taken
commune
away,
elementary
and
school.
the family
Now
is
you've
extremely
borrowed money
poor.
from him. What will you do
Lily
if he
Dawson
doesn't
is
help
the
you
only
then?
daughter in the family.
She didn't
with
believe
5 older
Thea
brothers.
Dawson could
The
pass
eldest
the
brother
exam
is
at
a
all.
farmer at home and
It was
also
only
runs a
because her
tractor.
husband
The
had
second
spoken
brother
up,
teaches
and she
elementary
knew she
school
couldn't
in
stop
the town
Thea
above,
Dawson,
the
that
third
she
brother
tacitly
Kofi
agreed.
Dawson is a driver for
She
a
just
shipping
thought
company
that if Thea Dawson
and can
earned
earn
a lot of
exam,
money outside,
she could settle
the fourth
down and
brother
become a
joined
teacher
the
at
army
the commune
last year.
elementary school.
The fifth brother
so she
Neil
wasn't
and she
worried.
are twins,
And
who
will
knew
be entering
Thea
university
Dawson
in
had
such
such
grand
grand
ideas
ideas,
receiving
and
a
even borrowed
recommendation
money
letter.
from Kofi Dawson. In Dawson Village,
Thea Dawson
Lily
said,
Dawson's
Mother,
family was
I'm
the
borrowing
wealthiest,
money, even
not
surpassing
begging.
Thea's uncle,
Besides,
the village head.
I don't need his help to get
Thea
that teaching
Dawson's
job.
expression remained calm.
What do you know?
I'm not going
Without
to cause
someone
trouble.
pulling strings, that
I'm
job
going to
won't
Lily
be yours.
Dawson's mother's house to clear something up.
Thea Dawson, truly
if you're
unconcerned,
worried, you can
said,
come with
Mother.
Kofi Dawson
Nancy
said
Dawson's
this is an open
face
recruitment.
You
I'll
suddenly
definitely
jump
come
into
in
the river
first.
to kill yourself.
If they
Was
try
it because
anything
of Neil
shady,
Dawson?
I'll report them.
Let's not even talk
If it
about
wasn't
the fact
open
that
recruitment,
Diana did have
if
a
it was
secret
just
crush
internal
on Neil,
transfers,
but she
we
knew
wouldn't
she
have
wasn't
heard
good
about it.
enough for him, so she
But
never
since it's
revealed her
open,
feelings.
they have to follow the rules.
Now, as Thea Dawson,
things are pretty
she
good
certainly
now.
wouldn't
Most
admit
officials are honest.
Nancy Dawson,
If you
how does my
complain to
ruined
higher-ups,
reputation benefit
someone will
you?
investigate.
And you called
Holly
Toby Dawson
Lewis,
stupid?
defeated,
Said angrily,
I think you're the
if you're
stupid
so
one.
sure, then figure
How
out the
could her
money
younger
yourself.
sister benefit from her
Thea
ruined
Dawson,
reputation?
looking at the wrinkles around
She
her mother's eyes, suspected Nancy Dawson's brain
Smiling,
was made of
she
tofu.
said,
Don't worry, Mother.
Nancy Dawson,
If I
pale-faced,
borrow it,
offered
I'll
no
pay it
retort.
back.
Thea Dawson, no longer engaging with Nancy, if you don't want me to worry, pulled Toby Dawson home and study for them. Their house was on the west side of the hill, while Lily Dawson's was in the middle of the village. I didn't say anything. Walking in canvas shoes on the rough, Thea Dawson took country road to the county seat, even in sunny weather. Because all the villages were busy with the harvest, the road would be impassable. Anyone on the road. A middle-aged woman in gray clothes and a blue cloth bag appeared before them. If you're coming back to the village, Diana Dawson, tell Uncle beforehand, she said pointedly, so he can meet you. Diana, they say a hard life is better than a good death. Why? You're so young. Trent, how could you be so foolish? Said quietly, all men are the same. Dawson under the covers who was killed by their family's enemies. These seemingly concerned words were like rubbing salt in a wound. Good people. Toby Dawson instinctively knew it wasn't meant kindly. They wouldn't dare do anything with Nancy Dawson and the others in the village. Thea Dawson, but it's dangerous for you coming home alone on such a long road. Simply chuckled dryly. Thea Dawson nodded. If you think all men are the same under the covers, I'll ask father to meet. There's a lame bachelor in the village. Are the peaches ripe at home yet? Perhaps you should take him a basket of plums and offer more than 10 peach trees. The woman, they were honey peaches, stunned into silence, sweet and juicy, could only give the few good things in Diana Dawson's men away. These peach trees were planted by Diana's grandfather more than 10 years ago. Whispered, maybe we should go back. They won't be ripe for another 2 weeks. Lily Dawson's brothers are tough, if you want some, and her mother is fierce. To the county seat then. Our mother has never gotten when the peaches ripened. Her eldest uncle would have his son deliver some, completely devoid of any suspicion that Penny Turner was lying. All 5 of the Diana sisters loved visiting their eldest uncle's house. Otherwise, Thea Dawson, Diana's death would have been too unjust, wasn't particularly interested. The rural doorway opened, I thought the peaches at home were sold to the supply and marketing Sean Dawson's extended family. Do you know how much they sell for per pound? She didn't enter, mentioning but this, called out from the doorway, became Uncle Shen, Aunt 3 how for 2 Although pounds. Both families shared the Dawson everyone surname, carefully selects Dylan the largest was a unblemished peaches, born and raised. But those bastards at the cooperative Sean Dawson's so father picky. Had fled to this place even during a small scratch before and they won't take them. The old Thea man, Dawson, clever made a mental note of this, quickly established when himself. When they arrived at the textile factory, Toby Dawson, it wasn't yet Thea Dawson's sleeve, whispering. She told Trent to wait on the corner and went inside alone to find someone. Sean Dawson's entire family was surprised to see Diana and Toby Dawson was relieved. Their family had little interaction with Dylan Dawson's family, who retired early to run the sewing workshop. The lady of the house, she has over 20 years of accounting experience. Diana, but Aunt Langston wants to meet you first before deciding. Was expressionless as she said. Accountant Langston, I have something to ask Lily Dawson. Thought her ideas were unrealistic. Was a bit perplexed. However, her daughter and Diana Dawson's mother didn't interact, so she having already said Dawson, she couldn't very well turn them away. Come in and talk. Thea Dawson felt that was better. After saying she also wanted to see the other party's level. Have you eaten yet, Sister Lewis? If not, then when would be a good time for me to come find you? Hearing this, Toby Dawson couldn't help but salivate. If you don't have anything to do, wait for me at the factory. Thea Dawson pulled her sister firmly, if you do, saying, just stand at the gate at that time. We've already My mother has an appointment with Aunt Langston at 12 after I've spoken with Lily Dawson. Perhaps Thea Dawson's confidence made Alice was very large that she would definitely succeed. With 2 rows I also want to go to the library on the left to borrow some books, as well as a kitchen and this wasn't unexpected for Alice Neeson. Their house was built with blue bricks. Thea Dawson was a studious which and used ugly wooden planks. Okay, then wait Lily for me Dawson, at the gate at 11:30. Having overheard their conversation, after the 2 made their plan with a smile, Thea Dawson led Trent to the library. What is it you want with me? Kelly Mack looking at Lily Dawson's siblings, Thea Dawson immediately understood and why both asked, Diana, why are you here so early in the village admired. You haven't had breakfast yet. Lily Dawson wore a light blue, wait a moment, flower-dotted I'll go buy you 2 dress and white buns. Butterfly bow sandals. Thea Dawson hurriedly her skin said, was fair, no need, her complexion rosy, sir, and her large eyes were incredibly lively before coming. This girl, Uncle in Lewis, both her attire I brought my letter of introduction to belong to a different world than the other village girls. Could you please help me get a library Seeing her card? Staring without speaking, later, Lily Dawson if she needed prompted, any books, Diana, she could come directly to the library Thea to Dawson borrow them. Pushed Toby Dawson compared forward, to bookstores, pointing to the library was more comprehensive, and said, after getting the library my sister this Thea Dawson said, Uncle Neil Lewis, Dawson found Sister Thea Lewis Dawson won't be off work until 11:30. If she was hit by someone, can I stay here and find that person? Kelly Mack what are you doing coming to our house? Thea Dawson sat down also didn't understand encyclopedia of accounting. While Penny Turner's mother hitting a child out for a stroll, it had nothing to do with there wasn't much to see on the street at the moment. If you feel wrong, so he walked around and came to Penny's house to demand justice and sleep. They all said this girl was clever, Thea Dawson now it seemed they were right.
turning more than 10
Neil
pages
Dawson
in
very
an hour
rudely
and
told
taking
them to
notes
leave.
twice.
Diana
But the
Dawson,
note-taking time
as you
was
can
very
see,
short.
we're eating and don't have time to chat.
After a while, Kelly Mack couldn't
Go
help
home.
but ask, "Do you always read
hold
so
this
fast?"
incident against you.
Thea Dawson
His
thought
hostile
to herself
attitude
that she
stemmed
was
from
just
two
reviewing
things.
her homework.
One,
Of course,
he
it was
believed
fast,
Diana Dawson
but she
was
couldn't
making
say
up
that.
stories
I've
and
memorized the
gossiping.
key parts. He
I
always
don't need
needs
to
to memorize
memorize
the other
Dawson's
parts
family,
in detail,
finding their character despicable
Kelly
and
Mack looked at the
shameless.
few words she had written
Thea
down
Dawson
and
glanced
glanced
at
at
Neil
Neil
Dawson.
"Do you have a photographic
He
memory,
wore a white shirt
or do you have a
and army
special
green
memorization
trousers.
method?" He had
Geniuses
very fair
with
skin and
photographic
bright
memories
eyes,
were rare,
looking like a
after
sunny
all,
young man, and such people,
Jasmine
unless they
Malone
intentionally
spoke
hid
without
themselves,
hesitation.
would have been
Diana,
discovered long
we
ago.
brought them.
So,
Milk candy,
relatively
but our
speaking,
family has
Kelly
nothing to
Mack
do with
leaned
this
towards
matter.
the latter possibility.
Thea Dawson looked
Although
towards
Thea
Lily
Dawson
Dawson
with a smile that didn't quite
no
reach her
Kelly
eyes.
Mack's specific identity.
You also
Based
think
on
this
his
has nothing
conversation
to do
and
with your
demeanor.
family. She guessed that he was a scholar.
Lily Dawson
I
felt
have my
her
own
attitude was
memorization
strange,
method,
and
which I
couldn't
discovered
help but
during
frown.
self-study. Diana,
Kelly
if
Mack
you have
was
something
shocked.
to say, just say it directly.
After a while,
he sighed and
I
said,
don't understand
"You're a
what you're getting
remarkable
at."
child. Toby
You
Dawson
even
was a
found your
little
own
anxious.
suitable memorization
She wanted to go
method.
home now, so she
There are
tugged
many
hard
people
on
who
Thea
study their
Dawson's
whole
hand
lives and can't find one.
Thea Dawson spoke coldly.
Thea Dawson
I
felt
came
a
to
little
your house
embarrassed.
not because I'm crazy,
This
but because I was the
memorization
one who
method
saved you
cost her a
yesterday.
considerable amount of money
I
to
almost
learn.
died saving you. She felt truly
I woke up
fortunate
to
to have
find
been
that I'd
born
gone
in
from
such good
rescue
times.
to
attempted suicide.
As soon as
and
the
my
bell
parents
rang
were
for
labeled
the
as
end of
villains
the
who
workday,
sold their
Alice
daughter.
Neeson picked up her
I
bag
thought
and
that
went
after
out.
you returned to the village,
At the gate,
you would explain
she
things
saw
to
Thea
everyone.
Dawson and
But
Trent
not
standing
only did you
opposite
not
and
corroborate
quickly
my
waved.
story, you even brought
Crossing
these
the
gifts
street,
to Penny
Alice
Turner's
Neeson
house.
saw the sweat on their foreheads
Crash.
and asked with a smile,
Mrs.
"Lily,
Dawson,
have you been
startled,
waiting long?"
dropped the bowl in her hand.
Thea Dawson
shook her head
It
and
shattered
said,
on the blue
"No,
tile floor.
No, I just arrived."
Neil Dawson didn't believe
Sister
her at all,
Lewis,
scoffing.
let's go. You say you saved our
We
Lily.
can't keep your aunt waiting.
Then why didn't you say
She
so
already
yesterday?
knew
that Mother Lewis was
Why
a
come
cadre
today?
at the winery.
Sean Dawson
Such
roared
people
angrily.
were certainly
Neil,
knowledgeable.
shut your mouth.
But she hadn't factored Alice
Because
Neeson
he was the
into her
youngest
plans,
son,
so
he
she
wasn't
wasn't
usually
afraid.
disciplined strictly.
She
and
just
they hadn't
didn't realize
realized
he
he
was
was
so
Langston
clueless
was
about
truly
how to treat
capable
people
or what her personality was like.
Someone coming to their door claiming
She
to
only
have saved
hoped
that
someone
everything
must have
would go
proof.
smoothly.
Otherwise,
why would
Alice
they come
Neeson
and talk
biked
about
to
it?
work,
But one bike
Jasmine
couldn't
Malone
carry two.
asked Lily Dawson,
Lily,
she
who
walked
actually saved
alongside
you.
Thea Dawson,
Lily
chatting
Dawson
as they went.
shook her head.
Thea Dawson
Mother
said,
after
Sister
I fell in the
Lewis,
water,
I
my
overheard
mind went
Mr.
blank.
Malone that day.
I don't remember
I'm
anything
sorry
after
for the trouble
someone
I
approached
caused
me.
you.
As
Alice
for who
Neeson
saved
waved
me,
it off,
I don't know.
unconcerned.
Penny Turner
It's
said
got
she
nothing
saved
to
her,
do with you.
so she naturally believed
Susie
her.
Perry
and I have never
Thea
gotten
Dawson
along.
said, yesterday,
This time
I was washing
she thought
clothes
she had
by the
something
river
on
when
me,
I suddenly
wanted to
heard
drag
someone
me through
shouting
the
for
mud.
help.
It's a
I
good
saw
thing
you
you were
struggling
there.
in the
She
water
took a
and
hard
immediately
fall this
jumped
time.
in to save you.
Thea Dawson
You were
thought
panicked,
for a moment,
and if I
then
got
asked,
too close,
what's the
you would have
conflict
grabbed
between
me
you
and
two?
drowned us both.
Accusing
I
Alice
had no
Neeson of
choice
bribery
but to
and
knock you
embezzlement
unconscious
and
and
drag you to
her
the shore.
career would be ruined.
After I pushed you
Such
onto
a
the bank
vicious
and tried to
attack
climb out
implies a
myself,
deep-seated
I
grudge.
suddenly got a cramp and was
Alice
swept
Neeson
downstream.
nodded.
Luckily,
I was originally
supposed
fortunate
to
enough
join
to
the
grab
union,
a branch
but
on the
somehow
bank and
ended
then,
up in
with
human
all my
resources,
strength, swam ashore.
I heard Susie Perry thought
Actually,
she'd get that
it wasn't
position.
luck.
When
The
she
original
didn't,
Diana
she started
Dawson
treating
had
me
drowned,
like an enemy,
and Thea had taken her
I
place.
didn't even know what I did to deserve
She was a
her
good
hatred.
swimmer,
and even though she
she's
was
been
still
against
dazed,
me for 2
she
years
knew she
now.
was drowning, so
Tell
she
me,
saved herself.
isn't that unfair?
Otherwise, she would have been a
Typically,
ghost by
getting
now.
into human resources
Neil
requires
Dawson
not
still
just
didn't believe her,
qualifications, but connections
if you saved
and a
her,
clean record.
why didn't you say so yesterday?
Who knows what kind of background
Why come
this
to my
Susie
house
Perry
today?
has?
Thea Dawson
felt
that
that
Diana
Diana
had
had
been
been
completely
knowing it
fooled
wasn't
by
the
this
right
man's
time.
appearance. She's been
He looked
targeting you
good,
for so
but
long,
he was useless,
and no one's
like
done
a
anything.
fancy embroidered pillow,
Alice
nice
Neeson
to look at,
said with
but not
frustration,
practical.
Susie Perry is close
I was
with
unconscious
Lena
for
Turner.
half a day after I got
That
out of
Lena
the water,
Turner is the
and when I
niece of the
finally
factory
woke up,
director's
I
lover,
had a terrible
and he
headache.
treats her like his own daughter.
My parents believed Penny
Susie
Turner's
Perry
lies
messed
and
up
thought
before,
I tried to
and
drown
Lena
myself
Turner
because I
smoothed
didn't want
things
to
over.
marry Seth Rollins.
Because they're so tight,
They were so
management
they turns a blind eye to our team and my second uncle to break off the engagement hadn't with crossed the line this time, their department Jasmine Malone was astonished. To Diana, it's just petty squabbling between girls. Yes, yesterday afternoon asked, what's this Mrs. Dawson grew suspicious. Alice Neeson thought I heard that Padre Rollins came to your house yesterday afternoon likes and to win people over with small favors. You went into the water to save very popular so why did you break off the engagement? But I don't really like her and don't want to get involved. That Rollins fellow is old, if you get into the factory later, already has 4 children, to avoid her. The eldest only 2 years younger than me. My family was so poor that I agreed to ease Dawson my parents' hadn't met Lena Turner yet, but things are different would be counterproductive. I risked my life to save Lily, and I trust you won't mistreat a two-faced woman. So naturally, I don't want to jump into this fiery pit anymore. If I see her in the factory, she hadn't wanted anything, only for Lily Dawson to clear Diana and Dylan Dawson's names. The exam was still a month away. But Neil Dawson cruelly accused her of faking the rescue for personal gain. Was he lacking confidence, if it weren't too or were they overly confident? This girl, who nearly died saving Lily Dawson, the three arrived at a three-story red brick building. Jasmine Malone's eyebrows twitched upon below this, but the upper levels Neil Dawson well-maintained, not hastily constructed. While Alice Neeson locked her bike, Thea Dawson scoffed, when I reached Lily Dawson, I didn't expect my arms to live in such a nice building. The bruises are still visible. Chuckled softly. Neil Dawson immediately had a nice house because she chose her parents well. Liar. Thea, Lily, however, can't even had no interest in this type of building. How could such a small girl have the strength to grab your arms? She preferred ground-level homes for safety. Lily Dawson blushed. She'd once been trapped in an elevator on the 30th floor for an hour. I heard you were top of your class in high school. At this moment, an old woman with a harsh face stared such a brainless idiot achieve such academic success, demanding, "Who are you two?" Thea Dawson and what said, are you doing Lily here? Dawson was drowning. This tone, struggling as if she considered them thieves, was in precisely the kind Thea Dawson loathed most. Grasped at anything that might save to act superior. A dying person Thea can Dawson exhibit never indulged such people, but given that's why I had to knock her unconscious. She couldn't be bothered. Otherwise, she wouldn't have let go, and we both would have drowned. Alice Neeson, having parked the car, pausing deliberately, Thea Dawson looked at Lily Dawson and said, "They're my friends. I struck the back of your neck." Seeing this, the old woman remarked, "Afraid you wouldn't lose consciousness. You must be careful who you befriend. Your neck must have hurt terribly when you woke up." Seeing your good background, Lily Dawson nodded. 1,000 ways to latch onto you. The back of my neck ached unbearably when I woke up. It was as good as accusing them of exploiting Alice Neeson for their own gain. Thea Dawson hummed in agreement. Trent Lewis, Penny Turner, was furious and wanted to confront her. But Thea Dawson, do you think she has the strength to pull someone ashore? Thea Dawson, her face cold, if you still don't believe me, ma'am, ask her about the rescue. Don't be fooled. She added with malice, responsible for your words. If you insist on crediting Penny Turner, proof, I'll consider myself unlucky. The old also warned my sisters not to be good Samaritans in the future, you little hussy, lest they endanger their families by helping others. Let me tell you, I'm not afraid. Jasmine even Malone if you do immediately responded. Don't be foolish. She looked at Alice Neeson and said, "We must investigate this girl is not a good person." In truth, I know you're kind-hearted, Dawson, but you must stay away from these people. Gave her a headache. Alice Neeson replied, Dawson Mrs. for a moment. This is none of your concern. Daughter-in-law, go to the Bernard residence and inquire about she's waiting for me at home now. Thea Dawson added, with that, sister-in-law Dawson, the old woman don't just ask Thea about Dawson the rescue. And Trent Lewis away. Check Penny Turner as for they climbed the stairs. Alice Neeson Dawson's eldest daughter-in-law glanced at Sean Dawson. She's from the countryside herself. She hurried out, yet she looks down on country Sean Dawson said, "Wife, my mom says she's forgotten her roots. Chopsticks." There was also Diana, something she hadn't mentioned. Mrs. Wong was notorious for taking advantage of others. Stir-fried peppers and meat. If someone cooked eggs with chives, smell it and sent her grandson over to beg for the glistening fat on the meat. These days, a meaty meal was a rare treat. Unfortunately, so who would willingly share it with Dawson outsiders? Didn't comply with her wish. Over time, politely refusing. No one in the building wanted to interact with Dawson her, allowed Jasmine Malone job to examine the bruises on her body. This old woman thought she was getting a good deal, tanned, but she didn't realize she was picking up sesame seeds while discarding watermelon seeds, particularly choosing the lesser, discarding the greater. Lily Dawson blushed. Thea Dawson had seen plenty of people like this before. I really don't remember. With a cold expression, she said, coming from the countryside, didn't say she wasn't superior to country folk, only stated she doesn't realize that in many people's eyes, wouldn't you doubt her ability to save someone? Just like the later generations, making a few bucks in business and then looking down on others. Any good food in the house was reserved for their two sons, such people, while the three daughters worked from dawn till dusk. If you trace back didn't have 3 generations, 99% it was because of these comparisons that Tammy Dawson Alice felt Neeson thought this observation was quite Lily insightful. Dawson, thinking of Penny Turner's slight also frame, furious, remained silent. If she wasn't so old, returning to the main house, her. Toby Dawson was spouting nonsense about us scamming people. Only when she saw Thea Dawson did she try to feign composure. It's a good thing you didn't. Eldest sister, you should come eat too. She would have definitely made a scene and pretended to be injured. The last time they had meat was during the Dragon Boat Festival. She had once taken a fancy to someone's fur coat. Since they were already at the table, when they confronted them wouldn't be helpful, they accidentally and it wasn't appropriate and she promptly collapsed in someone else's screaming in pain. Thea Dawson she then went to the hospital for a full-body checkup. I'm not hungry yet. Nothing was wrong, but she still got the examination fee and 3 months' worth of care expenses. Toby Dawson replied affirmatively and took another bite of meat. Trent Lewis felt that only his grandmother could handle this kind of person. After Sean Dawson's family finished Dawson their meal, followed up Mrs. Dawson floor and discovered that each floor only had 4 households. The girl was pale and sallow, Lewis family her hair dry and yellow, side of the looking to be only 12 or 13 years old. The units on the sides had better layouts, the house, while those in the middle had better lighting. I clearly saved However, Lily. Given the current housing shortage in the city, having living conditions like these was already quite good. Jasmine Malone asked, houses. You say you saved Lily. The Lewis family's door then tell us how you rescued her. Alice Penny Turner wiped her tears and said, yesterday, I'm home. After I finished picking wild vegetables, she also called Thea Dawson and Trent Lewis to see Lily in the water shouting for help. Upon entering, Thea Dawson jumped into the water to assess the room, but Lily was so scared. The living room was quite spacious, about 13 I had no choice but to knock her unconscious. There was a shoe cabinet by the door, a square table with 4 chairs in the middle of the room. Jasmine Malone a glass Sean Dawson against the left wall with a black and white television on top. At this moment, a large Neil Dawson exclaimed on the right. Penny's story matches Diana Dawson's. From the moment he entered, Trent Lewis what felt his eyes weren't enough, because Thea Dawson, there were many things he had never seen before, which was nearly identical to her own. He pointed to the leaf-shaped object above his head and asked, Dawson, cousin, Penny Turner's house is only a few steps away. Thea Dawson smiled and said, why did it take you half an hour to return? When you plug it in and turn it on, it's like having several people Dawson's sudden question, said with a forced smile, Penny, with a TV and a ceiling fan, it was evident that the Lewis family was quite wealthy in the county, which was understandable considering their guilty expression, knew she was lying. It's true that there's a wealth gap in every era. Now Mrs. Dawson, just that the disparity is greatest in later generations. Family. Trent Lewis then pointed to the TV and asked, what about this? Toby Dawson touched the back of her neck and said, that's not right. It shows movies, before, TV shows, you told the villagers that you saw my eldest sister jump into the river to commit suicide. Remember last year when you ran to the commune to Lily accidentally fall into the water. It's on the TV too. Trent Lewis saw Lily struggling in the water and crying for help while you were walking by the river. Alice your stories came over with 2 bottles of soda. Thea Dawson glanced at Toby Dawson with a hint of surprise. She felt that it wasn't surprising that Thea Dawson, having read Penny so Turner, many books, near frantic, knew about ceiling fans and it truly was me who saved Lily. Come and have some soda. Sister Diana, you can't my claim mom to must have gone out Lily just because my mother had Nancy Dawson and Toby Dawson. She had Thea Dawson and Trent Before Lewis anyone sit down in the middle of the Penny room Turner and raised her hand and declared, if you don't believe me, I can swear. Thea Dawson's hair blew across her forehead, uttered a single lie. Trent Lewis looked up in amazement. Sean Dawson and Jasmine Malone were momentarily unable to reach a bottle of soda and handed it to Neil Trent. Dawson also believed Penny Turner. She opened the second bottle, she wouldn't dare make such a venomous oath. Don't you like honey water? Diana Dawson, what my younger brother was lucky enough to get some the other day to swear the same oath. I got 2 bottles, but I was afraid it would bother you. So I didn't bring it to the factory swearing gate. An oath proves she's Trent the savior. Lewis took a sip of the soda. By that logic, any murderer could swear their eyes lit up. Everyone would believe them. This drink was cold, what need would there be for police truly or prisons? Alice continuously said with great delight. Neil Dawson's anger flared. My grandmother said the honey water was delicious, and I regretted that there was beyond redemption. Lily, Thea Dawson, thank you so much. Ignoring the imbecile, turned to Dawson and said, Alice, I'm the one who should be thanking you. Know how to swim. As they were talking, while not as strict as ancient sounded outside the door, boys and girls couldn't interact closely. The door was after pushed the age of 7, and 2 women the expectations for women were still One of them harsh. Resembled Alice Neeson for instance, while the other looked to be over revealed their limbs, dressed in gray clothes, they be deemed indecent. With sleek black hair neatly tucked young behind her ears. Young women couldn't be seen too close to men, lest they be labeled as wanton and shameless. Thea Dawson bowed her head slightly despite living near the river. Few women knew how to swim. Hello everyone. Firstly, due to the prevailing sexism, young girls were burdened with chores. Her greet her comfortably without any shyness. Older girls were forbidden from entering the water. In contrast, Penny Turner nodded softly, who was following behind, seemed very reserved. My older brother She smiled and nodded, then gestured to the woman accompanying her. Then turned to Sean Dawson. This is Accountant Langston. Uncle Sean, I've said she's worked in the textile factory for over 20 years it's and has been recognized twice as an advanced worker. Have Lily go back in the water Dawson and said with an admiring look. Sister Alice Lily just told me that Aunt Langston is truly a formidable woman. I don't want to go in the water. Any man. Yesterday's terror had left her with what Aunt Langston knows. The mere sight of the river filled her with dread. She wouldn't go back in for anything. A little surprised. He hadn't expected her daughter's usually quiet Jasmine Malone so embraced her flattery. No, Accountant Langston wasn't swayed by the compliment. Dawson saw a simple solution. Lily Dawson,
Tell me,
we can
what is
find
accounting?
Someone of similar build to Lily
Thea Dawson
had answered this question for County
I'm sure
Mac
if
before,
Uncle Sean
and now
offers
she
a small reward,
someone will agree.
Accountant Langston nodded
Sean
slightly
Dawson
and
didn't
continued,
object, so
asked,
what do you think
if
the
Penny
role of an
manages
accountant
to save
is?
her?
Thea
Inwardly,
Dawson calmly
he was convinced
replied,
Thea Dawson
many people
had saved
think
his
accounting
daughter,
is simply
but needed
recording
proof
debts
to settle the dispute.
In reality,
This
Dawson
idea
replied,
is mistaken.
If she can save someone
Besides
from the same spot
bookkeeping,
as yesterday,
accountants
I'll
understand the
retract my
finances
claim of
and the
saving
flow of
Lily
goods
Dawson
in and out of the enterprise.
Neil Dawson
and they
fumed.
calculate the
No.
cost of finished products.
That's too advantageous
Furthermore,
for you.
accounting also
His
has a
belief in
supervisory
Penny Turner
function,
fueled his
the purpose
objection,
of which is to improve business
Thea Dawson
efficiency
chuckled.
and budget management,
Then what do you
protect state
propose?
assets, and rationally
Neil
use
Dawson's
capital
face
to
was
promote
cold.
production and economic
I
growth.
want you to kneel and apologize
Currently,
to Penny.
with state-owned enterprises,
And from now
the role
on,
of the
you'll
finance
avoid
department
us.
is relatively weak.
Your attitude towards me
in the
is
future,
so hostile.
as we enter a market
If
economy,
it's proven she's
company
lying,
leadership
you'll
will
kneel
need to
and
clearly
count down 3
understand the
times,
company's
and from
financial
now
and
on,
capital
give me a
situation
wide berth.
before making important decisions.
Agreed?
Not
She
only
didn't need
Mother
to be
Lewis
polite
and
to
Alice
this kind of
Neeson,
idiot.
but even Accountant Langston
Sean
was
Dawson
taken
scolded,
aback.
Neil, what nonsense
After a moment,
are you spouting?
Accountant Langston said,
Go and
your
fetch your uncle
theoretical
quickly.
knowledge is extensive,
He knew
but you've
his
never
son was
worked
a
with
bit
the books.
impulsive,
But he hadn't
Do you think
realized
you can
he was
surpass
this
those
impatient.
with years of experience after
No,
studying with
he
me
needed
for
to
just
temper
1
his
month?
son's character before
Thea
university.
Dawson replied, I have
Otherwise,
studied bookkeeping,
with this temperament,
just not
he
practically
feared
in a
Neil
factory
would suffer
setting.
losses. I believe that
Thea
after
Dawson
a month of
knew he
learning,
was
I
shielding
won't
Neil
be
Dawson
inferior
and
to
didn't
them.
continue.
Accountant
She had
Langston
thought this
looked at her
matter could be
confident
resolved
demeanor
quickly,
and, after
but
a
she
moment
hadn't
of
expected
silence,
so many
said,
nasty
in
things
that
to
case,
crop up.
I'll teach you now.
How
If you
interesting.
understand what I say,
Everyone
I'll teach
said
you
the
for a
Sean
month.
Dawson family were
If
intelligent.
you don't understand,
then don't
whether
waste
they were
your time and
intelligent or
mine.
not, she didn't know.
If Thea
But
Dawson
today
could
she
understand
see that
what she
everyone
said,
in this family
she might
had
have
their
a
own
chance in
agenda.
passing the exam.
They could maintain a
But if she
peaceful
couldn't
facade
understand,
for now.
she didn't
But
want
once
this
this
job.
balance was broken, the
It
whole
wasn't
family
worth
would
damaging her
crumble.
reputation for a measly
Captain Dawson
$10
arrived quickly. Yes, after learning the source
Seeing
of
this,
the issue,
Alice
he
Neeson
looked at
said,
Thea Dawson
"Aunt
with a
Langston,
complicated
we haven't eaten
expression.
yet.
The
How
last
about we
hadn't
eat
mentioned
first,
saving
and then
someone
you can
yesterday,
teach Lily
deliberately
afterward.
letting Dylan Dawson
An
and
empty
Holly Lewis
stomach doesn't
misunderstand
make for a
that
sharp
she jumped
mind.
into the river to commit
Accountant
suicide,
Langston
leading
agreed.
them to break off the engagement.
All right, everyone go eat
Now
first.
that the marriage was off and
I'll wait
relations
here.
were broken beyond repair,
Thea Dawson
she revealed
realizing
the rescue.
that
Accountant Langston would
This
come
girl
back
had
after
become
eating,
quite scheming
quickly
after
said,
falling
Sister
into the water.
Alice, my brother,
Sean
and I have
Dawson
already
said
eaten.
with a troubled expression.
Alice
Elder
Neeson
brother,
didn't believe
both
her.
Diana and Penny
Eaten.
insist they're right, and
Where
both
did you
are
eat?
injured.
Elder
State-run
brother,
canteens
do you
didn't
think we
open
should
until
try what Diana
11:30,
suggested?
and the place was quite
Captain
far from
Dawson
the textile
glared at
factory.
him. Try
Thea
what?
Dawson wouldn't have.
This deep water is
Had
not a
time
game.
to eat there and still make
What
it
if
to
something
work on
goes
time?
wrong?
Besides,
Thea Dawson
dressed
smiled.
so simply, Thea
Have
Dawson
two
didn't
skilled
look like
swimmers
someone
watch
willing
from
to
the
spend
side,
money at a
and
state-run canteen.
Nothing will go wrong.
Thea Dawson smiled
Captain,
and said,
this
"We
is the
brought
most
rice
direct
balls
and
with us."
effective way to determine
With
who the
food
rescuer
being
was.
so precious these days,
Captain
how
Dawson
could she freeload
didn't
at
dare
the Lewis
underestimate
family's
Thea
expense?
Dawson now, but he couldn't
Even if the
follow her
Lewis family
suggestion.
was wealthy, she couldn't
If
take
something
advantage
happened
of their
and someone
hospitality.
died,
Both families would be held
Accountant Langston
responsible.
immediately said,
No
"All
need
right,
to go into
let's
the water."
begin then.
Reported
Mother
to the
Lewis,
authorities.
seeing this, said
He
to
then
Alice
looked at
Neeson,
Thea Dawson
Alice,
and Penny
I'll
Turner.
cook the rice.
When the
Go
police
to the
arrive and
state-run
find
restaurant
out who's
and
lying,
buy 2 meat
that
dishes.
person will be sent for
I'll
re-education
stir-fry
through
2
labor.
vegetable dishes. Lying wouldn't
She
necessarily
had just gotten
lead to
off work and
re-education
didn't have
through
time
labor,
to cook.
but there would definitely be
Ever
a
since
penalty.
Mother Lewis returned,
Penny
Trent
Turner's
felt
face
uneasy.
paled, but thinking
He
about
stood
how
up
she'd
and
not
said,
only eaten her
"Sis,
fill these
if it's
past
all right,
2 days,
I'll go
but
to the
also
library
avoided
and
her
bring the
parents'
bag
beatings.
over now."
She gritted her teeth.
The sun's too strong.
Captain,
It's
I
not
saved
good for
her.
Lewis to make another
Thea
trip.
Dawson suddenly asked,
Thea Dawson
Captain,
explained
if
to
she's
Mother
found
Lewis,
to be lying,
"You like
how
honey,
long will the
so I asked
re-education
my
be?
uncle for 2 more bottles.
This isn't a serious matter.
There were some
so it's
unpleasant
probably
rumors
3 to
before,
5 months,
so I didn't dare
right?
bring it over."
The re-education
Mother Lewis
period
was
wasn't
very
long,
pleased and
but
said
being
with a
sent there
smile,
would ruin
"Lily,
one's
you're
reputation.
so thoughtful.
No
If
decent
Alice
person
could
would
act
marry
like
such
you,
a girl.
I wouldn't have to worry so
Captain
much."
Dawson paused,
Her
wondering
mother-in-law
how this
loved
girl
honey
knew so
but
much.
it wasn't easy to come by.
This isn't particularly
Since
serious.
she had it now, she naturally
year,
wouldn't refuse
and she'll
it.
be released.
After all,
Thea
she
Dawson
wouldn't let
now
Thea
had a
Dawson
baseline.
suffer any loss.
She
sighed. Alice Neeson went to the state-run restaurant to buy 2 meat dishes, I won't pursue this one braised pork and 1
but
kung
if you
pao
stubbornly
chicken.
persist in your foolish
When
ignorance,
she opened the door
and
and
the police
find out,
she saw
your
a
family will be branded as having a bad element,
chatting amiably with
your
Thea
2
Dawson.
younger brothers won't be able
Alice
to join
Neeson
the army
was surprised.
or go to university.
She had only been out for half an hour. Will beat you to death. How could Aunt Langston's attitude change so drastically? A naive young woman, carrying the two dishes into the kitchen. She softly asked Mother Lewis, the other trembling with fear. It was clear who held the true answer. Mother Lewis chuckled and said, Sean Dawson shook his head and said, was Lily boasting, we won't pursue this matter further. But now I realize this girl is actually quite modest. You can go home. What? Upon hearing the words, Mother Lewis said, Lily not only learns quickly but also grasps concepts. I was the one who saved her, not Diana. She wasn't exaggerating. She jumped in the river. Calculations are incredible. Thea Dawson was taken aback. As Langston mentioned the figures, one would think she immediately gave the tigers and bears. The way this child is truly born to be an accountant. Captain Dawson, seeing her like Alice this, Neeson immediately said, Mother, don't worry, I told I'll handle this. Lily is truly outstanding. We gave you for your health. How could someone who wasn't capable obtain a junior high school diploma through self-study? They won't punish you. Alice Neeson felt that such a person was worth helping. Tears, stared intently. Mother Lewis said with a smile, this time, Sean Dawson didn't want to make a big deal out of this. This child is not only intelligent but also knows her boundaries. Don't worry, what can given is yours now. Mainly, Jasmine Malone she saw that Thea Dawson had clear eyes and her those words items were all bartered by her son, which pleased Mother Lewis boxes of malt extract. It was rare for her mother pulling strings to a friend she valued, as they weren't available at the supply and marketing Mother Lewis's arm and said sweetly, however, Mother, since her husband and the captain had been doing well lately, she dared not object. Could you ask Aunt Langston only to reduce the fee? Penny Turner begin to sob. Mother Lewis poked her forehead and said, this isn't haggling for clothes. I won't go back on my word. Whatever Aunt Langston asks is what it is. Can you now tell us the truth about what happened? Me speaking up would undermine her authority. Though he disliked Penny Turner, he needed to understand the situation clearly and avoid further ambiguity. Alice Neeson, having received the Langston's earlier demeanor, no longer hesitated. Mother, I have clothes I was washing wild vegetables by the river yesterday to give them all to Lily lying on the bank. Do you think that Diana was still struggling in the water? Mother Lewis, not being in the heat of the moment, said with a teasing scolding, saved Lily. You're not even as tall as Lily. Thea Dawson didn't believe she wouldn't be able to wear your clothes. Not only did you try to steal credit from me, food and but you also fabricated a story about me attempting suicide. Her daughter's food and nourishment over the years had truly Turner's expression stiffened, and she has 4 younger sisters. At that time, if she can't wear them, I had no other choice. Mother Lewis said resignedly why she was by the river. You decide what to do with them. I panicked and spoke nonsense. Seeing Accountant Langston put away her pen and scoffed, Mother Lewis stepped forward in the heat of the moment, and now it's panic. Miss Langston, dinner's ready. Turner, do you think everyone here is foolish enough to be deceived by your flimsy excuses? Politely declined. Then your mother and my mother have always been at odds. I live in building 2 of the garment factory's worker housing. You're trying to ruin my parents' reputation to please your mother. Just give my name at the door. You're so young, yet so malicious. Yes, ma'am. It's frightening Mother to think you might have inherited this wickedness. Miss Langston, Captain Dawson glanced at Thea Dawson. It won't be much later if you eat a little something into the river had changed her. She was not only resourceful, but Mother Lewis stopped pressing and walked her to the door. Penny Turner knelt on the ground, noticing Thea Dawson following. She stopped. Diana, I know I'll see her out, and I apologize. You didn't eat much lunch, but I truly didn't want to harm anyone. Go back inside and have some more Diana, with Alice. I really never intended to hurt anyone. Sensing they had something private to discuss, due to the force and the hard blue bricks, the hallway Turner's forehead quickly began to bleed. Conversation difficult. Jasmine Malone and sister-in-law Dawson felt before Mother Lewis asked about the tutoring fee. Lily Dawson also didn't refuse payment outright. However, none of them spoke. Time and effort only had value. Captain Dawson and Sean Dawson. More importantly, Neil Dawson her own finances were Penny Turner and couldn't help but say, Diana Dawson, just 30, be forgiving and merciful. Judging by her clothes, I believe guessing your family isn't well off. Now she can pay me after she gets the job. Has confessed, there's Mother no need to pursue this any further. Miss Langston, Thea Dawson's anger she'll get the position into a bitter laugh. Accountant Langston replied, that girl's got a natural gift. You make it sound so simple. I won't guarantee first place after a month of study to climb out yesterday, but top 3 I'd be a ghost now. And my parents would not only bear the pain of losing a daughter, but also the stigma of driving her to suicide. Her implication was clear. Felt her fury radiating was practically guaranteed a spot in the textile factory. Penny told the truth, you wouldn't even if she didn't get in there, she could find work elsewhere. On your word? True talent doesn't always found discern your own flesh. Thea Dawson Mother Lewis was elated. I won't pursue Lily her Dawson wasn't easily in the rescue, but her fabrication about my suicide those with designs on her daughter wouldn't have it so easy. With that, returning home to find her daughter and Thea Dawson waiting for her to eat, Mother Lewis was delighted. The little girl's logic was simple. She went to the kitchen, Turner had set aside a portion for malt treats and rescuing Lily Dawson. Thea Dawson, that it was confirmed her elder sister was the true rescuer, Mother Lewis, observing Thea Dawson's refined table manners, too, felt she was well raised and wondered about her sister's expression. They had just finished eating and chopstick still in hand, when Dawson's eldest sister-in-law helped Penny Turner up. He sat down, saw the food in his bowl, she said, and ate in silence. Penny Turner seemingly cried, oblivious to everything else. She'll beat me to death. Mother Lewis, such a lie, not only the 2 jars of honey, but also a piece of dried meat and the blood on her forehead. Dawson's sister-in-law even felt a pang of sympathy. It wasn't greed, but appreciation for Thea Dawson's understanding. Jasmine Malone didn't speak. She put the dried meat back in the basket. Captain Dawson called Sean Dawson into the house. Take this dried meat back for your family. Diana's personality has changed drastically since she fell in the water. Lily, take it back. You've allowed them to suffer such a great injustice. At the state-run restaurant if you must take care to appease them. If you give us this, we'll have to wait until New Year's for our next taste of meat. I understand. She'd heard that in the countryside, Sean Dawson's house, meat was only available during the New Year's pig slaughter in the commune. Toby Dawson mumbled, even with meat coupons, they gave Timothy Turner's family so many things. Thea Dawson, why didn't they give us anything? Auntie, at these are gifts. Thea Dawson had no desire to chat with her younger sister under the scorching sun. Alice has helped me so much. I have nothing else to offer but these mountain products. As soon as she arrived, Mother Lewis Holly Lewis scolded Thea Dawson, leaving empty-handed. Did you lose your brain when you fell in the water? Thea 20 coins and several industrial coupons. You should have confronted her directly. She insisted. Why did you run to Sean Dawson's house? I can't keep them either. It was precisely because her daughters had gone to Sean Dawson's house that she hadn't gone the youngest son, received wages that pretentious Jasmine Malone resulting there to make things difficult for her daughters there. Toby Dawson quickly had expiration dates. The white rabbit was better to give them away than let them go to waste. Mama. Thea Dawson had no choice Turner's house and get them back. Mother Lewis, Thea Dawson, a favorable impression to the point of her stomach, was eager to offer further assistance. Her sister and went to the kitchen. Have you found a place to stay yet? Holly Lewis smacked Toby Dawson's head. Let me make some inquiries for you. All you think about is eating. Thea Dawson quickly shook her head. You'll eat yourself, stupid. No need. What do you mean, should be ours? I've already asked my older brother from Sean Dawson's family. I've arranged to meet him after I finish here. She'd heard the gossip. Mother Lewis stung, impressed by Thea's thoroughness. Whose fault was it that her daughter lacked ambition for her and proceeded to tell her about Accountant Langston, while hers jumped into her own, whose full name was Annie Langston, to swallow the snide remarks about selling her daughter when she started work today. 15 years prior, Toby Dawson waved her hands. Langston's husband stole 10 pounds of food to give to his Timothy Turner's older in the starvation death of their eldest daughter. It was my eldest sister. Despite everyone's advice, why Accountant Langston divorced him. What did you say? Her two sons stayed with their father, hallucinating, while she raised her youngest daughter alone. Toby Dawson tilted her head back. Accountant Langston's youngest daughter, as she said, Sonia Langston, you married at 18 to a truck driver. Sis didn't jump in the river to kill herself yesterday. She saved someone. Relieved to see her daughter happy, Sis and Lily were both unconscious, devastated so Timothy son-in-law unexpectedly died. Thinking of the milk candy and other delicious treats, job and Toby Dawson's heart leaped with joy, 2 children with relatives. Holly Lewis rushed into the kitchen Sonia like a compromised, pulling Thea Dawson adding to the tragedy. When she finally retrieved her children, said you didn't fall in the river yesterday. Tracy, you had a high fever. Diana, a relative's is child she telling the truth, Tracy, or is it just gibberish? During the harsh winter, Thea Dawson replied which had been ignored. Toby Dawson is right. Due to delayed treatment, I saved Tracy Lily developed a chronic illness, Penny Turner just admitted it in front of Captain Dawson and Xianba's whole family. Last year, upon account of Langston's retirement, Penny Turner's second son's wife wanted her gifts as a tonic. Accountant Langston asked Lewis for 500 coins, based on what? But the daughter-in-law refused. Those things should be ours. Accountant Langston then traded the position to someone else for 800 coins, Thea Dawson using the money to take her granddaughter to the city. Don't go to Penny Turner's house yet. After 6 months, wait until Tracy's health improved, but her second son's family to discuss with you and Pa. Her eldest son, still resentful over the divorce, remained estranged. Thea Dawson was truly famished. Thea Dawson felt a deep respect. Though the wild vegetable porridge she'd heard of many instances where daughters were sacrificed for sons, made her hungry again. But cases quickly, like Accountant Langston's, those things rare. Aren't going anywhere. Alice Neeson, what's the rush? Turned on the TV. But if you don't listen to me, then pulled Thea Dawson into family matters anymore. Though small, Holly Lewis felt this girl was becoming more and more unruly, a wardrobe opposite her own mother, and a desk by the window. But she also knew her daughter's temperament had changed, a private conversation wasn't as easily coerced as before, so she didn't dare push too hard. These are my old clothes. Fine, I'll go get your paw. If you don't mind, take them. Dylan Dawson was resting in his room. Dawson's clothes were patched a dozen times over, eating mixed rice with sweet potatoes and cucumbers. Toby Dawson, Alice Neeson's old clothes were 60 to 70% yen Ba's house just now. Thea was grateful for such fine clothes, was especially delicious. Sister Lewis, Thea Dawson didn't blame the little girl, simply you can give them to someone else. If you go to someone else's house to eat, she disliked using second-hand clothes, or my permission, even if they were practically new and fit her perfectly, even if we have some, she wouldn't wear them. Toby Dawson didn't take these words to heart. Don't you have 4 younger sisters? At home, take them back for them to wear. Food during the New Year celebrations. Thea Dawson didn't refuse further. The rest of the year, all the good there was quality, barely anything to eat. Colored clothes. Then explained, Toby Dawson's my younger sister's work in the fields. Thea Dawson didn't bother reminding clothes her aren't suitable for them. Once she earned money, you can keep those other ones and give them to your friends or relatives. Then, if Toby Dawson didn't listen, pressed a light blue shirt into her hand and let her starve within the next room. Dylan Dawson, it was arranged still groggy from Alice Neeson's was roused by Holly Lewis. Alice Neeson hearing what she said, box from under her bed. Awake. The clothes inside were all dark colors. Diana like black, said the girl admitted it herself. Army green and khaki. It can't be fake. Alice Neeson smiled. Dylan, our these daughter are my older brother's more and more willful, hiding such a big thing from us without letting anything slip. Lily, these are all stain-resistant. A pang of bitterness resonated in Holly Lewis's heart that they're hand-me-downs. Take them. Dylan Dawson said. This time, she didn't tell us because she was afraid we'd find out the truth and refused to break off the engagement. She gave Alice Neeson all $20 Mother Lewis in disguise for our Diana. Seeing Alice Neeson hesitate we don't need to worry about her said being with a smile, Sister Lewis, Holly Lewis please snorted. Take it. As long as she doesn't $20 for these clothes is a steal. She won't. If you don't after take putting it, Seth I won't dare take his place yesterday. How could she then be a she coward? Added, Sister Alice, in truth, this money isn't for you. To see the change for your in his eldest daughter. Taking his clothes without his permission, so a fierce daughter was just what they needed to run the household. It's the right thing to do. After their discussion, unable the to couple argue, went outside. Alice Neeson reluctantly accepted the money. Had just finished her meal. The clothes weren't packed Nancy in a basket, Dawson and Tammy Dawson brushed over the Lewis family, while Toby Dawson, upon as luck would have it, Lewis, they bumped into Mrs. Holm downstairs, still waiting for her to go to Penny Before Turner's house and demand Alice the return of their said gifts. With a smile, Aunt Hannah, Thea Dawson, my mother asked me to give Lily some old clothes we don't wear swatted anymore. Toby Dawson's back. Mrs. Holm's face works about to start. She had previously asked Mother Lewis for old clothes. Off you go, and Mother Lewis had said she'd given them to relatives. Nothing could delay earning work points. Now it seemed she hadn't given them to relatives, the family's but simply didn't want to give them to her. Holly Lewis responded with Alice Neeson said to Thea, let's go. We'll see after work. Out on the road, Alice Neeson looked up and addressed her parents, Lily, Father, the son's mother, so strong. Let's go inside and talk. It's a 20-minute walk Dylan to the shipping Dawson company. Immediately understood. Let me give you a ride. Discussion wasn't suitable Thea for his Dawson younger children's ears. We usually work under the scorching sun. Nancy Dawson, so walking Tammy Dawson, work is starting Sister soon. Alice, hurry to work so rest for a bit, or some busybody Nancy will make Dawson, a fuss about it. Thoroughly disgruntled, hearing returned to her room. Alice Neeson didn't hesitate any longer and Holly Lewis angrily questioned. Once what they were alone, to be kept from your Trent Lewis excitedly said, we're a family. Sister, that TV is what so can't be cool. Said in front of them. And the electric Thea fan, Dawson gently explained, so nice and cool. It's not about deliberately deceiving. Thea Dawson looked at him with amusement. They just can't keep their mouths shut. He'd just been talking about going home, might fall apart. But his backside hadn't budged an inch. Penny Turner like this, clearly Thea Dawson felt even more grateful for Dylan Dawson and Holly Lewis, and thus, later, when we earn our own money, we'll buy one too. Dylan Dawson inquired, the light in Trent Lewis's what is it that even Nancy Dawson can't know? That TV must be really expensive, but he couldn't fathom any significant issues within their family. Thea Dawson smiled. Thea Dawson revealed her decision. We can't. The county but if you listen to me, is hiring. I guarantee that within 5 years, Dawson both our families will have a TV. I saved Lily Dawson's life. Equals, if I ask him to pull some strings just so I can take the machining test, I doubt he'll refuse. I'll definitely be working at the textile factory. Just returning from Sean Dawson's house, county seat that short distance had been unbearable, but she deliberately brought Trent along not for protection, working in the fields would be even worse, but to she wanted to keep her skin fair. So sun exposure was out of the experience the vibrant, her colorful outside world after Shirley desires to venture out. Their daughter was certainly audacious. Since her eldest cousin is so kind to their family, was intrigued. Thea Dawson also wanted to give Trent Lewis this opportunity. Their family's prospects would improve. As for his interactions with other relatives, Nancy Dawson that's Trent Lewis's own affair. However,
thinking about
he
Thea
doubted
Dawson's
Sean
behavior
Dawson's
these
family
past
would
2
agree.
days. Trent Lewis
Holly
said,
Lewis
stated bluntly,
I trust you.
Diana, that's wishful
If you
thinking.
trust me, then first
Sean
learn
Dawson
to read.
and Jasmine Malone
We'll
won't
talk
agree.
about other things later.
Why wouldn't they agree?
Trent Lewis's face
Holly
suddenly
Lewis
fell.
responded without hesitation.
Learning to read is
Their
truly
eldest and
difficult.
second sons are unemployed.
After walking
and
for
Lily
about
Dawson
half an hour,
hasn't started
their 2
working
cousins
yet.
finally arrived
Even
at the
if Neil
transportation
Dawson
company.
gets a job, it'll go
Slogans
to a family
like
member.
labor is glory,
Why would they give it to
revolution,
you? Do transportation.
If he did,
and
both
safety
families
first,
would be at each
adorned
other's
the walls
throats.
flanking the company entrance.
Thea Dawson chuckled.
Thea
Dawson
felt
felt
they were very characteristic
Lily
of the
Dawson's
times.
godfather pulled strings
Just
to get
as they were
Kofi
about to
Dawson
cross
that
the
job.
street, a truck emerged
Now,
from inside.
he's repaying a life-saving
Trent
debt for
Lewis
his godfather.
exclaimed excitedly,
What
"Cousin,
grounds do
cousin,
they have to complain?
Look. It's
Besides,
a car, a big
I'm not
truck."
asking for a handout.
Seeing
just
his
a chance
reaction,
to take the
Thea
test.
Dawson decided that next time she
Godparenthood
saw her
wasn't
eldest cousin, she would
casual
suggest letting
affair
Trent
like in the
Lewis out more.
21st century.
Otherwise,
It involved
getting
a
this
formal
excited
ceremony
over
with
just a
feasts,
truck,
kneeling,
with such naivete
kowtowing,
and lack
and
of
a proper
knowledge
bond
how
between
could
the
he
two
avoid
families.
ridicule when he entered the workforce
Speaking
and
of which,
interacted with
Lily
people?
Dawson was
The
incredibly
large
lucky.
truck rumbled past Thea
7
Dawson,
years ago,
leaving her
while
in a
shopping
cloud
in
of dust.
town, she encountered an
Ignoring
old lady
Trent
who had
Lewis's
fainted.
excitement, she
She
crossed
helped
the
the
street
lady
and
to the
addressed the
hospital,
guard,
and because of her
"Excuse me,
timely
sir,
assistance,
I'm looking
the
for
lady
Kofi
recovered
Dawson."
fully. Is he
As
at
it
the
turned
company
out,
today?
the old lady's son
After
was none
speaking,
other than
she
Kwong
offered him a
Bok Tan,
cigarette.
the deputy manager
The
of
guard,
the Kwong Bok
finding her
Tan
polite,
transportation
accepted
company.
the cigarette,
Placed
He
it on
then
the table
arranged for
and
Kofi
asked,
Dawson to
"Who
work
are
at
you?"
the company,
Starting
and
as
what's
a
your
temporary
business with
worker
Kofi
and
Dawson?
becoming a permanent employee
Thea
a year
Dawson
later.
smiled and replied,
Because
"My
Kwong
name
Bok
is
Tan
Diana
and his
Dawson.
wife had only 2 sons
I'm a
and no
distant
daughters,
cousin of Kofi
and
Dawson.
elder Madam Kwong was
I made an
particularly
appointment
fond
with
of
him
Lily
the day
Dawson
before yesterday
the two
to
families
meet him
became
here this
sworn
afternoon.
siblings and visited each other
She
frequently.
specifically said she was a distant
Holly
cousin
Lewis
to
asked
avoid
in surprise,
misunderstandings.
"Aren't they the same?"
After all,
Taking the
Kofi
exam
Dawson
means
didn't
there's
even
no
have a
guarantee
girlfriend,
of a
so a
factory
young
job,
woman
right?
seeking him out might raise
Thea
eyebrows.
Dawson replied, "There's an
She didn't
internal
use her
transfer
real name,
position.
firstly because she
The
worried
exam
Kofi
is
Dawson
just a
wouldn't
formality.
recognize it, and secondly,
Physicians
to
requiring
avoid
talent
being
mistaken
mistaken
for
for
his
his
sister,
sister,
Lily
and only
Dawson.
the top scorer gets it.
Kofi Dawson had worked
Kofi
there
Dawson
for 6
previously
years,
mentioned
so surely
taking the
people would
transport
know his
company
sister.
exam,
But it's
being
actually an
mistaken
internal
for an
transfer.
imposter wouldn't be good.
In her past life,
She
if her
graduated
diploma
in
hadn't
finance
listed
from
her name as
Shanghai,
Lily Dawson,
passed the
she would
certified
have
public
changed it by
accountant
now.
exam in her 3rd year,
The guard
and
nodded.
always worked in accounting.
Kofi Dawson is here.
So, her goal was
Wait
to
here,
apply for the
and I'll have
factory
someone
accountant
call him out.
position, but of course,
Thank you,
she couldn't
sir.
say that now.
A car entered
Holly
from
Lewis
outside.
quickly responded,
Trent
"So,
Lewis
if you
followed
don't come
with his
first
eyes,
in the exam,
and after
you
it
won't be
disappeared
selected."
from view, he said to
Thea
Thea
Dawson
Dawson,
nodded.
"Sister, how
Holly
wonderful
Lewis
it would be if I
flatly
could learn to
refused.
drive someday."
No way.
Thea
If
Dawson
you can't pass
glanced
the
at him
exam,
and said with a
it'll be
smile,
a wasted effort.
"If you still want to learn to drive
Diana,
in 5 years,
it's better to
I'll
choose
find
something
someone
else.
to teach you then."
What kind of
Trent
benefits
Lewis,
do you want?
thinking she was joking,
Candy,
chuckled
malt,
and said,
meat.
"Cousin, I'll remember
If I
your
have
words.
a job, I can buy those
Yes,
myself later.
remember them well.
Mother,
We
in
must
5
look
years,
at the bigger
I'll
picture.
definitely keep my promise.
Don't be blinded by small,
Buying a car in
immediate
5
gains.
years might be a bit difficult.
Holly Lewis
as
still
cars aren't
disagreed.
easy to come
Diana,
by.
I don't
Getting
have
you
such
driving
grand
lessons
dreams.
won't be hard.
I just want to
Kofi
live a
Dawson,
stable life.
inspecting vehicles.
After
set
things
down
settle
his
down,
tools upon
I'll
hearing
find you a
someone
good
call
husband.
for Diana, summoning
Before,
him.
she was so
Thea Dawson
captivated by the
found it
job
slightly
prospect
odd
that
that
she
he
didn't
emerged
realize
the
the
company
other
by a
party
short,
was a scoundrel,
thin man,
nearly
but
ruining her
refrained from
daughter's
further
life.
inquiry.
Third brother.
Now, she didn't dare to
Kofi
pursue
Dawson,
this path again.
glancing at Trent Lewis,
Dylan
couldn't
Dawson
help but
clenched
ask,
and unclenched
"This
his
is-"
fists,
clearly
Thea
still
Dawson
struggling.
introduced Trent Lewis,
After a
then
moment,
explained,
he asked,
"My
"Have
parents
you made
and
up your
eldest
mind?"
brother, worried about my
Yes,
safety on
I'll
the
talk
road,
to Kofi
asked him
Dawson
to
about
accompany
this
me
when he
to town.
returns.
Kofi
Talking
Dawson,
to others
how's
was
the room
pointless.
situation?
Speaking directly to him was
Kofi
best.
Dawson led them to a large
If
tree.
Kofi Dawson
then gestured
refused,
towards the
she
man
would go to
beside
town
him.
herself
"This
to
is my
inquire,
good friend,
but
Thea
will you?"
Dawson felt that if Kofi
He has a
Dawson
spare
was
room
smart,
in his house,
he wouldn't refuse.
and I've spoken with him about letting
Dylan
you borrow
Dawson
it for a
nodded
month.
and said, "If you've decided,
Borrowing was
then
merely
do
a
it."
polite term.
Even
In reality,
if you fail,
it meant
it's all
renting.
right.
Thea
Things can't
Dawson
get any worse
hesitated
than
at
they are
this.
now.
She
Holly
couldn't rent
Lewis
a room in a
exclaimed
house with
anxiously,
adult men.
"Husband,
It simply
how can you
wouldn't
be
do.
so foolish. This wasn't just 30 years later. A whistle blew, a damaged reputation wouldn't just lead to social scorn and difficulty. The couple picked up their tools and would also bring shame upon her family. Toby Dawson tugged on Thea Dawson's sleeve and hesitation, sister, offered a reassuring smile with mom and dad. There are 5 people in William's family. Thea Dawson said pointedly, his eldest sister is married, to be redistributed, so it's just him. His mother, be younger brother, Tammy Dawson, and younger Naomi Dawson. Don't worry, don't even think about being lazy from now on. He'll be staying at the company during this time. Immediately fell. As for his
Dylan
younger
Dawson
brother,
and Holly
he's only
Lewis
10
met
years
at the
old
village
this year
gate and headed towards their
A
workplace.
10-year-old boy indeed posed
A woman
no
named
concern.
Aunt Zoe asked solicitously.
Thea Dawson
Holly,
then inquired,
"It's been 2
is
days.
there electricity?
Why hasn't Diana started
I
working
need to
yet?
read at night, so a
What's
lamp
wrong?
is essential. Is her head still
Also,
hurting?
I require a quiet
If it is,
environment.
you should take her to the
Excessive
hospital
noise
quickly.
would be disruptive.
Don't let it linger.
Having studied for half an hour
If she
with
hadn't
Accountant
known the
Langston
truth,
today,
Holly Lewis
she found
would
the
have
current
scowled,
accounting
but
quite
now
simple.
she just smiled faintly
However,
and said,
she couldn't
"Country
let anyone
girls
perceive
are
her
tough.
ease. They
A
needed
little
to
headache
believe she
and
was
she'll be
fully
fine."
engaged.
It's just
Appearing
that she
overly
almost lost her
relaxed
life
while
this
achieving
time,
top marks,
so she needs to
given her
recuperate
circumstances,
properly. Would only arouse
She hasn't
suspicion.
earned any work points for days.
Her grandfather always said,
Seeing her not
"Caution
only
ensures
alive
a ship
but also
sails for
cheerful.
10,000
The people
years,
around
and in
Zoe
these times,
whispered,
such
wondering
prudence
if
was
she'd
even
taken
more
the wrong
crucial.
medicine.
But with such a good opportunity,
a ship
and
sails
Zoe
for
was
10,000
unwilling
years,
to let it go.
means a careful
Holly,
fisherman,
you can't
holding
spoil
the
the
oars
child
firmly,
like this,
can sail for a very long
Otherwise,
time.
later, if
10,000
anyone touches her
years
and
signifies
signifies
a
a long
long
duration,
way.
she'll go off and try
In
to
life,
die. It teaches us to be
It's truly
cautious in
frightening.
everything to ensure success.
Always threatening to die.
William
Whose family
Dafoe
would
dare
dare
want
want
a
a daughter-in-law
daughter-in-law
like that?
My house has electricity.
Holly Lewis snorted
You can
contemptuously.
use it as much as you
What
need.
nonsense.
It won't be
My
noisy
Diana
either.
wasn't moping around and
My
trying
younger
to drown
sister
herself
works during the
yesterday.
day, and my
She
younger
jumped
brother
in to
plays
save
outside
someone.
and doesn't come home
That
until
Turner
dinner.
brat,
Thea
stole
Dawson
the credit
nodded.
and slandered
Can I
my
see the
Diana.
room now?
What?
Of course. Hearing such
On the way to
explosive
William,
news, and Zoe stopped
Defoe's
in her
house,
tracks,
Kofi
clutching
Dawson
her sickle and
intentionally
exclaiming,
lagged behind
"What
with
did you
William
say?"
Dafoe and Trent Lewis.
Diana didn't
Then
fall into the
quietly
river
asked
to
Thea
kill
Dawson,
herself,
Diana,
but to save
rooms
someone.
are scarce in town.
That penny girl falsely
Finding one
claimed
with
the
electricity,
that spacious
didn't
and quiet,
mishear, did
isn't
I?
easy. Because her
Don't
voice
worry,
was quite
William
loud,
is a good
everyone
friend,
around,
and
his mother is very easygoing.
They all
I've already
stopped their
spoken
work
to her
and surrounded
You can
Holly
eat with them
Lewis.
during this month. No
Holly
need to
Lewis
cook for
said
yourself.
angrily.
That damn
Thea
brat
Dawson,
admitted it right
knowing
in
the
front of Swan's
difficulty of
family
finding
and
a rental,
Captain Dawson
had turned to him for help.
If you don't believe me,
She
you
was
can ask
deeply
the captain.
grateful for his thoughtful arrangements.
That girl is
Thank
so
you,
vicious.
Kofi Dawson.
She stole the
I
credit
wouldn't know
for
where to
saving
start
someone
looking
from
on
my
my
Diana, and then tried to
Kofi
say she
Dawson
jumped into
waved
the
his
river
hand
to kill
dismissively.
herself. It's nothing. Don't let me see
Which
her again,
factory did
or
Tony
I'll tear
Lewis
her apart.
find you that experienced accountant
Some
at?
busybodies actually went
Are
to
they
ask
trustworthy?
Captain Dawson. If not,
Confirming
I
the
can make
story
some
was
inquiries.
true.
Everyone was stunned.
Thea Dawson politely
They
declined
hadn't
his
expected
offer,
such a
and
big
Lewis
twist.
has already found me a position
Those who
with the
envied
garment
Thea
factory
Turner
for
the
the
good
tiring
fortune
accountant.
she'd received now felt a bit
Mr.
of
Langston
schadenfreude.
gave me a half-hour lesson
started
today,
to suck
and
up.
I feel quite confident.
Aunt Zoe immediately
At the
changed
mention
her
of the
tune.
garment
I said
factory,
Diana
Kofi
wasn't the
Dawson's
type to
eyes
mope
narrowed.
around and jump into the river.
This was quite a coincidence.
See,
as
I
Lily
wasn't
was
wrong.
starting work there in a few days.
One of the
a
aunts
fact
scoffed.
known only
Aunt
to
Zoe,
the family.
You're changing your tune pretty
Arriving at
quickly.
the Defoe residence,
Before,
Thea Dawson
you clearly
understood
said
why
that
they
Dylan
could
and
spare a
Holly
room.
were the ones
It
who
was a
drove
single-story
Diana to
house.
jump into the river because of
The
money.
house had 4 rooms in
The
total,
two immediately
plus a
started
kitchen and
bickering.
woodshed.
Because
Both
they
the
were
kitchen
working
and
for the
woodshed
state,
were
many
makeshift
people
additions,
slacked off
so
and were
small
lazy
that
whenever
2
they
people
could barely turn around
Those
inside.
who truly worked hard were
But in a
usually the
town with
honest
such a
and kind
housing
ones.
shortage, it was
The
considered
others
spacious.
thought that if they slacked off,
Hearing
someone
the
else
commotion,
would do the
Mother
work,
Defoe
and it would get
emerged from
done
the house
anyway.
and greeted Kofi Dawson warmly.
A task that could be finished
Jian
in
Yu.
one day would often be
It's
dragged
so
out
hot
to
out.
2 or 3
Come
days.
inside quickly. As these
Once
women
everyone
gathered
was
together,
inside,
cutting
Mother
grass
Defoe
and chatting,
took Thea
they all
Dawson's hand
talked
and
about
said,
Diana
"So you're
Dawson
Diana."
saving someone. Such a determined
Holly
young
Lewis's
lady
group was
staying
the
in
liveliest.
town alone to study for the
Aunt can
factory
cut a
exam.
small pile of grass.
Thea
Then
Dawson
sat down on
quickly
the edge of the
explained,
field
my
to
parents
rest,
agreed.
panting,
Holly,
Auntie,
the Dawsons
it's a
sent
rare
good things
opportunity,
like malt and
so I
milk
want to give
candy
it my
to
best.
Bernard's house.
Kofi Dawson
Those things
chimed
should have
in,
been yours.
Auntie.
Director Lewis of
Holly
the winery
Lewis thought
has
the
even
same,
arranged for an
but because of
experienced
Thea
accountant
Dawson's
to tutor
reminder,
her. She said,
This
Brother
shows
Sean
how highly
Dawson
Director
said those
Lewis
things were
regards
to nourish
Diana.
Thea.
This
They
remark
belonged to
was
their
intended
family,
to make it
so
clear
I
to
can't
Mother
really say
Defoe
anything
that Thea
if they give
Dawson
them
had
away.
both opportunity and
If it were
support.
her usual temperament,
Mother
she would
Defoe's
not only
eyes
have
lit up,
taken those
and
things
she looked
back,
at Thea
but also
Dawson
demanded
with newfound
compensation.
enthusiasm.
Diana,
But now,
you know
Diana's
Director Lewis
goal
from
was the
winery,
job,
and as her mother,
Thea Dawson
she couldn't hold her
smiled
daughter
graciously.
back. Yes,
Aunt
I know
Can's
both
jaw
and her daughter. Everyone in Dawson Village knew Holly Lewis loved taking advantage and hated became even more enthusiastic. Now, with so many good things, let me show you she wasn't pursuing it. If anything isn't to your liking, was this the Holly Lewis she knew? The West wasn't she possessed? About 15 or 16 the gaggle of aunties was all from the same work group, nodded in agreement. It contained a bed and a wardrobe, that's the right way to think. Thea Dawson said, valuable as they may be, belonged to Sean Dawson's family. The lack of a proper wardrobe was Manager Penny to help she her recover. Do for a month. Demand them back. But a desk for studying and reading was essential. And suffered such a great injustice. Mother Defoe smacked her forehead and Jasmine certainly won't mistreat her. Look at my memory. Holly relished the words. I said this morning I'd bring the desk over. Exactly. And I completely forgot. Diana truly suffered a great injustice. Go to your younger sister's room and bring the desk and chair here. Pulled her ashore, and then suddenly got a cramp. Is there anything else you need? Thankfully, Thea Dawson shook her Otherwise, she would have died and been slandered for committing suicide by jumping in the river. Auntie, Kofi Dawson mentioned I could eat with your family. Holly's mother-in-law both felt Penny Turner was truly wicked. If it's inconvenient, by the time work ended, more than half of Dawson Village was quite generous on this point, and all felt Penny Turner was a malicious child with a cruel heart. Just an extra Holly pair Lewis of chopsticks. Was washing her feet in the stream when a furious shriek rang out. 2 bowls of rice per meal. Holly Lewis, how much shameless would be a fair contribution? It was clearly my Penny. It was best to be clear about these things from the start to avoid any misunderstandings. Everyone in Dawson Village knows you forced Diana Dawson to jump into the river and try to kill her with a smile. That afternoon, 40 caddies of after food, Nancy Dawson 10 caddies of rice and 30 caddies of sweet potatoes. Holly Lewis was about to leave work and confront Susie Morgan. Thea Dawson felt that now that Susie had encountered with 50 she would settle both old and new scores and 35 of sweet potatoes. The 2 women quickly grappled with each other. Didn't mince words. Susie Morgan was strong, Dawson's while Holly Lewis, which makes you my sister too, was agile and her attacks the rent shouldn't be too high. 2 coins will do. Each woman clutched a fistful of the other's hair. Unfamiliar with the local rental market, after being pulled apart, at Kofi Susie Morgan saw village Chief the going rate for rooms in town. She sat on the ground, Thea Dawson slapping her thighs and was rather low. Chief, you must uphold justice for me. I use quite a bit of electricity. How can you let people bully me so I'll cover the cost of that after I move in. My Penny nearly died saving that Lily, room, and now they're twisting the story. Should have rented it was Diana Dawson who rescued her. However, Chief, with Kofi Dawson involved by them, and considering how much he helped her son over the years, Mother Defoe agreed to about this matter. He said what she hadn't expected was Thea Dawson's generosity that when she reached the riverbank, thinking it over, Lily was already unconscious on the shore, must have something special about was still struggling in the water. With this in mind, Mother Susie Morgan became even more courteous towards Thea Dawson. That child must have